Hi everyone. Welcome guys. Welcome to the Ask Me Any Stock live session. I think we are now live. Let me just go to check my screen. Good morning, guys. If you can see and you can hear me, I just type a one in the chat. Let me know if this Ask Me Any Stock live session. I think some of you have already joined us live. Just type one in the chat. Let us know if this is working. Okay, let's see. Good morning. We have Dave over here. Hi, good morning, Dave. All right, so this is working. All right, thank you. I thought it was like hang for a moment. Good to see you here as well. John, Gary, Colleen. Hi, Jimmy. Good morning as well. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Ask Me, our Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. Hi, David. Good to see you here as well. Hi, Karen. Good morning. All right, welcome, guys. Welcome to the Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. And today we'll be talking about the US market, right? The US market, and essentially what is this session about? Well, every single Friday, what happens is that we have our Ask Me Any Stock session, right? And last Friday, we actually covered the Singapore market, and today we'll be talking about the US market, right? The US market happening today, right? Today, and next Friday will be the Singapore market. So we alternate between US and Singapore. So today will be the US market. So what will happen today? Well, very simple. I'll do a quick market outlook later. I think the market has been a little bit weak over the past few weeks. What is the reason why we are selling down? All right, what is the support level for the key markets, for the key indexes? Could there be more selling? Is there more weakness? When should we think about buying? That's what we'll cover as well, right? So we do a quick market outlook on the key indices, like maybe the S&P 500 index, the Dow Jones, all right? And after that, as the name of this session goes, right? Ask me any US stock. Yes, so we will go ahead to cover the US stocks that you guys are asking about, right? From my one good trend strategy, right? From my one good trend strategy. So you want to find out a little bit more in terms of the entire strategy, where you can attend one of those free webinars that I have. Maybe in 1 or 2 weeks time, we have a webinar. All right, I'll just place the link in the chat. All right, so attend one of those free webinars. That's to share with you guys about the whole entire strategy that I've been using for more than a decade now. All right, and of course, based on this strategy, I have an indicator. I call it the One Good Trend Pro indicator that allows me to get an opinion on any stocks in seconds. And that's exactly what we'll use later. I want to give you an opinion on the stocks, the US stocks that you're asking about. All right, so we don't have time to explain the whole strategy today. All right, it's just pretty much to cover your stocks. And at the end, that's where we will also share 3 bonus US stocks that you guys could put in your watch list as well. These are some of the pretty defensive stock, pretty strong stocks. And over the past few weeks, when we're seeing market weakness, they have in fact been doing pretty well, right? So me, Bervyn and Zee will each be sharing with you 1 stock each. So 3 of us over here, 3 times 1, that is for 3 US stocks that will be shared at the end of this live Ask Me Any Stock show. All right, so without further ado, let's go to get started right now. All right, and those of you who have just joined us, welcome to our Ask Me Any Stock session. All right, so let me go ahead to look at my screen, right? So I'll do a quick introduction of my team here, right? So my name is Joey Choy. For those of you who have not met me, Joey here, top tier MyDeal trader in Philip Securities, doing this for more than 10 years now. And I also conduct some trainings as well, events, webinars to teach my graduates, my mentees as well. We conduct group coaching as well. So as I say, even find a bit more on the strategy, attend my free webinars. But I've been doing this for more than 10 years now, right? And I have my team right over here joining me as well. Bervyn, who is one of top tier brokers, remisiers in Philip Securities under me as well. All right, more than 4 to 5 years under me. And he's hosting our Ask Me Any Stock session, our group coaching as well. And Bervyn is also what we call a CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst holder. All right, anybody who is in the financial industry, this is probably the highest qualification one can ever get. All right, so Bervyn, maybe just say a few words, introduce yourself. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Nice to see some familiar names here. I mean, if today you hear a little bit of background noise, it's probably from me. I think my neighbors are drilling for oil upstairs. Yeah, so no choice there. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure we'll still be able to continue on. I hope we can continue to give value to you guys and see where the US market today is heading. So, but before we go into all of that, if you guys haven't helped us to like and subscribe below, can you just please help us to do so? We can actually reach out to more people going forward as well. Yeah, so we can continue to give value to everyone. And I hope that you can continue to join us, next week, the following week, so on and so forth as well. All right. Okay, passing the time back to Joey.
Thank you so much, Bervyn. All right. And yes, guys, I think Bervyn mentioned, right? If you still have not yet subscribed, follow the channel, like the channel, please go to do that. All right. So that when we go live in the future, you will not miss out. And we are doing this on a weekly basis. Those of you who have been following us for the past 1-2 months since we began 2025, right? We have been doing this. We want to add value to you guys. A lot of you might be clients of mine in Philip Securities. Some of you might not be clients of mine. Some of you might be graduates, might be mentees. Some of you might not be, might be just the public scrolling through. You have no idea who we are, but we just want to add value, all right, to you guys. Anything to do with stocks, Singapore stocks, US stocks. Here we are, all right? We are here to give you a quick opinion in seconds so that you know what to do, right? Whether to buy, to sell, to do nothing, all right? So that's what will happen, right? So go ahead to like and subscribe to the channel, all right, to our YouTube channel. We are live on Facebook as well. So make sure you hit the follow button on Facebook if you're there, all right? And thank you so much. That will really help out the channel, help us to reach out to more people as well, all right? Okay, let me go to introduce another of my team members, Zee, all right? Zee, who has been with me for more than 4 to 5 years now. Also one of the top brokers, top remisiers and traders under me in Philip Securities, all right? And Zee is actually helping out with our group coaching session, one-on-one session for mentees as well, helping our portfolio manager with the managed account, the entire portfolio of stocks as well. And Zee is also what we call a chartered market technician. Those of you who are talking about technical analysis, all right, anything to do with TA, well, Zee is the go-to person, in fact, even higher qualified than me, all right, in terms of technical analysis. And Zee and Bervyn, both of them are equally, very proficient in the one good trend strategy as well. So Zee, maybe you can just say a few words. Zee, introduce yourself.
All right, thanks, Joey. Hi, everyone. Good to see you guys back. I think a lot of you, we are looking at the comments, right? A lot of you are already typing the stocks today. But just to let you guys know, today we are actually doing US stock, all right? And then later, whereby we will actually show you the one good trend pro indicator, whereby how it can actually help you to give you a quick opinion. But all in all, my philosophy, if you have actually attended the past session, right, my philosophy is actually quite simple. Like, we don't try to overcomplicate things, right? And that's exactly how the one good trend indicator can actually help you to do that. All right, so that's a very quick one about me. I'll pass the time back to Joey to actually kickstart today's session.
All right, thank you so much. Right, yeah. So basically, we'll be going through the one GT Pro indicator. You're gonna find a bit more on this indicator that does help us make the job much easier. Well, attend one of those free webinars. So let me just go to show you a quick disclaimer, right? As I said, right, many times when we have this live show every single week, I will show this disclaimer, right? Whatever that's shared today by me, by Bervyn, by Zee, is for education purpose, for information purpose, all right? It's not to ask you or force you to buy or sell anything, all right? It's up to you. You want to do your own homework as well, all right? Not to ask you not to buy or not to sell, all right? So please do your own due diligence, all right? The standard disclaimer that we have to share, all right? So let me just go ahead right now and cover very quickly the markets. How many of you want me to just talk about the markets a little bit? Where are we seeing weakness? Just type M for markets, guys. If you want me to talk about the markets, right? The markets in a very quick way, all right? So that you understand what is happening over the past few weeks, the past 1 month, right? Just type M for markets, let me know. All right, let's see. David, M as well. Dave, M. So I think Gary, M as well. All right, very good. So let's see. Elric also M. So very quickly, guys, let me just go through. I mean, since today we're talking about the US market, right? So I think it's wise just to cover what we call the S&P 500 index. And a lot of you have been asking about it as well, right? So why are we seeing weakness, I would say, over the past 3 weeks to maybe about a month, right? Well, I think all of you have been following the news, right? Since few weeks back, about 3 weeks back, Donald Trump has imposed tariffs on Mexico, Canada, even imposing tariffs on China as well, 10%, right, 25% on Canada and stuff. So it's a back and forth, right? Imposed tariffs, supposed to start on the 4th of March, but 2 days later, 6th of March, he delayed by another month up to April. So it's a bit of a reprieve. And what happens is that the market is feeling a bit uncertain because it seems like he's going to go through with the tariffs, but he's pausing, and then, it's going to start anyway again, right? So it's a bit of uncertainty, all right? That is what is happening. And of course, we have the geopolitical tensions within the US and Ukraine as well. I think all of you know about the confrontation, this whole White House issue, right? When Ukraine President Zelensky was in the White House with Donald Trump, and they were both shouting around it causes a lot of uncertainty, right? Because now they're talking about a minerals deal, all right, a potential ceasefire deal. And I think this morning, Russia came out and said that they want some conditions to this ceasefire deal, all right? Again, uncertainty, right? All these are leading to, I would say, a bit of a weakness in the market. And, the market has indeed put off or sold off over the past 2 to 3 weeks, mainly due to these tariffs, these ongoing tariffs. And over the past 3 to 4 days, there are now talks about what we call a recession, right? Recession fears. Why? Because due to all these tariffs, businesses could be hit. All right, people might cut down on spending. There could be a recession, and that adds on to another layer of uncertainty as well. All right, so markets started to sell off a little bit lower. All right, so this is pretty much the news that's been happening. Right, and of course the technology sector in the US, right, if you have been following the news as well, I mean, since January, February, when there was this launch of the AI startup in DeepSeek in China, all right, that just cost less than a fraction of the cost, I think like $5-6 million to develop it. Well, it affected some of the technology sector in the US, like Nvidia and some of the semiconductor stocks like Micron and all that, right, AMD, right? So that was on the news as well that affected mainly the technology sector in the US, all right? So this is the S&P 500 index. Let me just go ahead to do a quick run through of what is happening. So you can see, right, for the S&P 500 index, I've been talking about it, I think 2 weeks back. I mentioned that we are indeed seeing selling. All right, why? Look at the short-term trend. Look at the 20 days moving average. You can see that the green 20 days moving average line is in fact sloping down right now. It was actually up in January, right? January, February was up, but somewhere around in the mid of Feb, you can see the green 20 days moving average line is starting to slope down. In fact, it's still sloping down right now. So if you ask me, I would say that the short-term trend has turned down, all right? The longer-term trend, well, that's where we look at what we call the 100 days moving average, the red line and the blue line. So the longer-term trend actually, to be honest, has been up since like 2 years back, all right? So the longer-term trend, I would say, is still up right now. It's not really like a down in the long-term trend. Maybe a bit up to sideways, but definitely not down for now. The longer-term trend is still okay, but the short-term trend, unfortunately, has been down over the past 2-3 weeks. Is it down today? Yes, it is still down today as per the green 20 days moving average. So what I always teach and share with my graduates and my mentees is that we try not to get in, right? We try not to get in when the longer-term trend is up and then the short-term trend is down. All right, you might say, well, but the longer-term trend is up, right? Why don't you just buy anyhow, right? It doesn't matter, right? Because the long-term trend is up. Yeah, I mean, that's correct. Long-term trend is up, but why not wait until we see signs of strength in the short term, all right? Like, for example, look at this right over here. That was in 2023. We actually saw the 20 days moving average line actually pointing down, flat, down, right over here for about 3 months before we started to see the rally, all right over here, and the short-term trend turn up, and there we go. So why not wait for both the longer-term trend to be up? So at a point in time, you can see when it was coming down, the short-term trend was actually down. All right, it was actually down, and the long-term trend was up. So it's something like what we're seeing right now. So we actually sold off from here all the way to here, something like that, right? About 10-11% in about 3 months. That was in 2023. Of course, along the way as well, we did see the short-term trend turning down as well. You can see right over here in May last year, in July last year, in December, sold off as well. So a couple of weakness in the short term. That's normal, right? In the short term, I mean, it's short term, right? So you can go up and down for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, for 1 month, for 2 months, it can go down in the short term. So if you just take what we see over here and you put it all the way, like, from here, like this for 3 months, 10%, right? 11%, and you put it here, you can see that we are somewhere around there. In fact, this is not 3 months, this is like about 2-3 weeks. So it's a bit much faster, all right, but we have sold off by about 10 to 11%. If you can just put over here, I would say about 10 to 11, about the same percentage, right, as what has happened in 2023, all right? So let me go ahead to turn on what we call the 1GT Pro indicator. So right over here, you can see that for any asset classes, even the index, even the markets, any US stocks, any Singapore stocks, anything, all right, gold, crypto, Bitcoin, whatever. I have this indicator right over here, whereby with a click of a button right over here, I can turn on what we call the buy and sell signals, all right, from the One Good Trend Pro indicator, right, based on my One Good Trend strategy. So you can see right over here, pump, let's turn it on, and there we go. All right, look at this, right? Okay, so you can see right over here, I mentioned that we had some bearish signals. Bearish came down, the green 20 days moving average line were pointing down, right? A bullish signal came out right over here, and there we go. All right, another bullish, so a bearish signal came down a bit, a bullish signal, all the way up. So my question to you is this, right? Do we have some bearish signals coming out over the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Answer is yes, right? I mean, you can see, in fact, 2 weeks ago when we were doing this Ask Me Any Stock live session, we had the first bearish signal, but now we have another bearish signal. Is it going down some more? Yes, it's going down some more, all right? Are we out of the woods yet, all right? Is it going to reverse today or tomorrow? Probably not yet, all right? We are still not entirely out of the woods. I mentioned 2 weeks back that we are indeed seeing some short-term weakness, short-term selling that is still ongoing, not out of the woods yet, all right? Where could the potential buying zones be whereby some bargain hunting might come back again? Well, let's find out. So initially, right over here, I actually drawn a bit of a support. You can see right over here around the 5,800 level, right over here. So 5,800 was actually a support level that I have drawn about 2 weeks back, because that was the level whereby, you know, for the past 3-4 months since November, we rebounded from it. But you can see the 5,008 left have kind of like, you know, broke down, and this 20 days moving average line. So if we actually stayed above the 5,008, right, I can tell you this green 20 days moving average line will flatten out and maybe even start to point up, right? It will stabilize. But no, it didn't happen, right? We broke the 5,800 support. The green 20 days moving average line continues to point down. These two bearish signals continue to play out. So what would be the next support level? If I can draw it for you, I think the next support level, right, based on what we have seen over the past 6 to 8 months up to May, right, will be around the 5,400. Let's see, right, I think around the 5,400. You see, that was where, okay, let me just go to remove all this drawing, right? So 5,400 would be where you have rebounded somewhere in July, somewhere in September as well, rebounded. So anything from 5,004 to 5,005, right? Now is what? 5,521, all right? So it's 5,521. So anything near 5,004 to 5,005, hopefully, we could see some stability over there, all right? We could see some consolidation, all right? We can get to these levels, the market stabilize, all right? And hopefully Donald Trump don't anyhow say things and flip here and there, all right? Stabilize a little bit, all right? And we see a catalyst whereby, he starts to cut back on tariffs, and do some actions that supports the market rather than making it uncertain. Well, that could be at least some signs of stability, all right? And that's where we can stay above that 5,400 to 5,500. I would say that the 20 days moving average line that we're seeing pointing down right now will eventually stop pointing down. It might just go down and down a little bit more, right? But we see some support coming back, right? And the green 20 days moving average line starts to maybe flatten out and point back up. Well, that would be a sign of at least a bottom being found, all right? And we could potentially see a reversal. Of course, we want to wait for another confirmation whereby we see a bullish signal like this. As I mentioned, right, we have a bullish signal coming out right over here when we saw weakness in May, April, right? So if you can see this bullish signal come from here, let's say we take and put it over here, all right? The green line points up, a bullish signal comes out. Yes, that would be a confirmation whereby we might start to see a reversal. But is it happening today, tomorrow, next week? Probably not yet. I think in the next 2-3 weeks up to maybe a month, we might still see a bit of weakness. But I can tell you guys there are a lot of opportunities that are coming out right now. Prices are looking really, really attractive, all right? You want to know what stocks to focus on, all right? Doesn't mean just anyhow buy and get in because it's cheap, but when the time is right, when the time comes, when you see a reversal, when we get a bullish signal, all right, when the short-term trend starts to turn up, of course, the long-term trend must be already up, all right? That is where you want to think about going through, all right? So I think if you want to find a bit more on the strategy, as I say, guys, attend one of those free webinars, all right? So today will be pretty much to give you guys a quick run through of the markets, right? So how many found it a bit clearer? This type C for clearer, guys. If you're a bit clearer as to the markets, the S&P 500 index, what to look out for, all right? Are we still weak going now? In the next few weeks, type C for clearer, guys. If you're a bit clearer, I hope that I help you guys, gain a better understanding of the markets. All right. Let's see. Gary, clear as well. Victor, clear. All right. So good. So this whole point is just to help you out in terms of the market. Right, in case you're thinking about buying the entire market. So this is the S&P 500 index. So if you're looking to take a position in the entire market, all right, that tracks the S&P 500 index, what happens is that, and that's what we have many clients doing as well, right? You can actually buy what we call the SPY, all right, which is the S&P 500 ETF, right? That tracks the S&P 500 index. So you don't do any stock pick, right? You don't want to or pick this one or that one on Nvidia or Apple and so many stocks. You just want to take a position on the whole market. Market go up, be happy. Market go down, you're not happy, right? Then you can buy what we call the S&P 500 ETF. And based on my analysis, that's what we can do as well, all right, to think about getting in only when there are signs of a reversal. All right. Okay, good. So let me go ahead, guys. To talk about the stocks that you guys are asking about. I think I have quite a lot of stocks right now. I'm just going to go through one by one. So how it works is this, guys. Those of you who are just joining us, welcome. Welcome to our Ask Me Any Stock live session. Today, we'll be talking about the US market. I've just pretty much covered the S&P 500 index. All right. And right now, we are going to talk about the stocks, the US stocks that you guys are asking about. I see a lot of comments, a lot of stocks already. All right. So what could happen is these guys just maybe type one stock, right? Don't put like 5 stocks there. And just maybe one stock at a time, and give us a little bit of an context, right? A bit of a context of the stock, right? Like, are you looking to buy? You have bought them last week. You have bought them last year. I don't know, right? And then what's the context so that when we advise you, it's a little bit more personalized to you rather than just one name now. So don't know what's this name about. You want to buy or sell, also don't know, right? So I hope that makes sense, right? So that's what you could do, all right? And I'm going to go through very quickly right now some of the stocks that you guys are asking about, right? So what happens? I'll just do it first, all right? Then I'll pass on the mic to Bervyn, and then Zee will come on as well. So we just take turns round robin, all right? We'll try to cover at least more than 10 to 15 of a US stock. That's what we do every single time. Let's see, all right? Okay, let's see. I think Elric, let's see. Elric, you're asking about this stock called MasterCard, right? Elric, come. All right, let me go ahead to cover MasterCard as my very first stock. All right, let's see. MasterCard, M-A-S-T-E-R, MasterCard. Let's see. All right, there we go. This is MasterCard. Let's see. Okay. So MasterCard right over here. So you can see, right? I see I can have this indicator right over here. Let me just turn it off to be clearer. But if you want to turn it on, it comes up with bullish and bearish signals in seconds. Pump. There we go. It's on. So let me just turn it on. I think let's keep it simple. All right. So you can see for MasterCard, where I would say that the longer term trend has been up. Actually, pretty good long-term uptrend, right? Since like 2023. Look at the red and blue line, right? Forming higher lows as well, of course. Long-term up doesn't mean the short-term is always up, right? Short-term can be down. Look at this, right? We got a bearish signal in April last year, all right? In July, came down, all right? But the long-term was up, right? You see over here, we got some bearish signals. The short-term came down in September 2023. The long-term was up, right? So short-term can be down, okay? But we don't want to get in when the short-term is down. We want to get in when we see a bullish signal right over here, right over here, bullish signal. That was in November 2023. When that happens, the green 20 days point up. There we go. Same thing over here. We got a bullish signal, right? Long term was up. Green 20 days moving average line point up. There we go, all the way up. So let's take a look at where we are right now. MasterCard. Well, a couple of bullish signals in January. That was before the whole market rout, all right, whereby, we push up right before Donald Trump talked about tariffs and all that. So pretty good bullish signal went up. But the past week, it seems like we have a bearish signal coming out, all right? So are we seeing a bit of weakness in the short term? Yes, all right? We are seeing a bit of weakness. It could be something like this. In April, we sold down, all right? So we try not to buy right now, all right? If you've got in over here and here, sitting on profits, take some profit, get out, because we could see some weakness in the short term. To where, right? I would say support-wise could be to the $500. Look at this, right? 500 was where we rebounded, right over here in October as well, rebounded. I would say 500 would be a very, very attractive level, all right? But doesn't mean you go to 500, you just anyhow buy, no, right? What happens is that we can have a support level that I've drawn, and you can see 500 also coincides with where the 200 days moving average line is. That acts a bit like a dynamic support level for the longer term, all right? So I think 500 will be a pretty good support level whereby some bargain hunting might come back. But as I say, right, doesn't mean because you draw this line and then you go to 505 or 510 and then you just buy it because it should rebound, right? It's rebounded in January, it's rebounded in October, so this time it should rebound. High probability that it can rebound, right? But doesn't mean it's confirmed. So what we want to do is that when it hits there, we want to wait for some confirmation. Right, we want to wait for some bullish signals to come out. We want to wait for the short-term trend that is still pointing down right now, the green 20 days moving average line, to maybe stop pointing down. Does it make sense? It's still pointing down, right? So we let it stop pointing down. Let it flatten out here. Something like this over here, it starts to point up. It starts to flatten out. There we go. That could be the sign of a reversal, right? So MasterCard, the first stock that I covered today, long-term is fine, good, all right? But for short-term, we could still be a weakness. Let it be patient, all right? Wait for it. When the time comes, when we get a bullish signal, that could guide us to get back in, all right, to ride this pretty good stock, I would say, in the longer term. All right, so that's my very first stock, MasterCard. Let me pass on the mic to Bervyn, okay, to cover the next US stock. We'll just go through one by one. Bervyn, all yours, go ahead.
Thanks, Joey. Let me just throw my screen up. Okay, here we go. So I think just now somebody Hui was asking about Alibaba. So I believe you're asking about Astralabs, whether it's a hold or to sell. Okay, good. At least you're not asking whether to buy. Okay, so here we go. So here on my screen we have Alibaba. I think it had a pretty good run up since late of last year. So if we use our 1GT signals, 1, 2, it went all the way up until the day it actually sold down. That's 145% of gains. But after that, subsequently, we had a 1GT bearish signal that actually saw prices broke below this key psychological $100 level. So that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign that, you know, these prices quickly broke down and then subsequently tried to climb back up a little bit, tried to go back up a little bit, but it seems like it wasn't really able to hold. And on this day right here, we actually have a rather bearish candlestick that actually showed up as buyers not able to take control back of these counters yet. All right, so now you have the 20 days moving average still pointing down, just nice intersecting the 200 days moving average as well. So really rebound from that 200 days moving average, I think it's still too early to say. It doesn't have a history of that. The prices or the stock has just IPO, early of last year, sorry. So we do not have much data to show that the 20 days moving average has previously rebounded from the 200 days moving average. But right now, I think we are back at those IPO levels already. There's also one level that, around this $60 level that you want to actually take note of, because if this level actually breaks down, we could head towards that low of that $38 to $40. That is actually a further downside from the current prices of about 33-34% as well. So that's not what you want to be cut with. So if you are intending to hold, I think the $60 level is a key level that you actually need to watch out for. Do not want to see another 1GT bearish signal come in when these prices or this $60 level is broken. So what I would suggest for you to do, Hui, is to actually set an alert just below to alert yourself that if there is any 1GT bearish signals that appear, or you can also set an alert like, say, prices drop below this $58. That's when you want to be alerted. Come back in, check on the trend. If it's still looking weak and you spot any bearish candlesticks, I think you may have to consider a stop loss plan. If you're looking to buy, maybe not yet. You want to wait for the 20 days moving average to flatten out at least, or show some signs of reversal. Prices head back towards that $80 temporary resistance first before make any further moves on this counter. All right, you heard that's a very quick one on Astralabs. Hope it helps. Z, can you bring us through the next counter?
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, so I saw Sao Hui. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Yeah, actually asking about Royal Caribbean, right? So let's just do a very quick one on Royal Caribbean. So for Royal Caribbean, we can see that the uptrend since 2024 has been pretty much intact, and it's very beautiful, right? Because all three moving averages are actually heading up. There's multiple 1GT bullish signal coming out. I mean, of course, there are some selling pressure coming back in here and there, but overall, it's still heading up. Right, it's still heading up. In 2025, yes, we actually saw a 1GT bearish signal, selling pressure came back in, but price still actually managed to hold above this $220, right? So back then, this 220 was actually a support, right? Because right over here in October, somewhere in November, we see that they actually released their earnings, price gap up, managed to hold above this 220 since November, October period, right? So then prices actually rebounded from this 220, went up again, rallied all the way up to near this 280 resistance level. That's where we started to see selling pressure coming back in once again. And this is where we actually saw two 1GT bearish signal very recently, right over here, whereby the 20 days moving average, if we look at it closely, it's actually still pointing down, right? It's not even going sideways yet. It's pointing down, and it's actually going to break this 100 days moving average as well. So not a good sign, right? But in terms of the longer term trend, if you look at the red and the blue line, I mean, I would say they are still looking decent, right? I mean, not too bad lah, not too bad. At least they are not pointing down. The 100 days, the red one is actually kind of tapering out, flattening out, kind of like going sideways a bit. The blue one is still looking good, okay? It's still looking good in terms of the longer term trend. So some people might be asking lah, so is it a good time to buy, right? I mean, that's a lot of the questions that's on people's minds right now, right? So right now the price yesterday it closed at 207. So obviously it has already broken below this 220 level. So this 220, I mean, right now it would be a resistance, right? Previously it was a support. Now it has broken below 220, is now a resistance. But over the past couple of days, we actually saw this thing happening, right? This candlestick right over here, this one. Price actually rebounded back up from this 200 days moving average, right, with a long lower shadow. So it actually seems that there could be some temporary buying pressure right over here near this $200 psychological support. So I would say this 200 psychological support is one that you might want to monitor as of now, because it is a round nice number, and that's where, you know, people usually want to buy at, you know, and this is a psychological support at this point in time lah, because over the, you know, over this couple of weeks right here in October, November, this is also where we saw, you know, price was actually hovering around this $200 level. But of course, if the next few days, you know, right now we all know that the market is pretty weak, right? There's some short-term weakness, not just in this counter, but across the market, as Joey has actually explained earlier on in the S&P 500. So if prices is actually unable to hold above this $200 psychological level, that's potentially where we might actually see price heading towards this 180 support level right over here. Right, so this would be the next crucial support level to actually take note of, because this is where prices have been holding above since October. And if prices were to break below this 180, that's where definitely we'll be able to see more weakness coming back in lah. So if you are thinking of accumulating this counter for a longer term, like what Joey and Bervyn have already mentioned earlier on, don't rush in to buy into any stocks. Make sure to actually see whether price is actually able to hold above a key support level first, plus the 20 days moving average actually starts to at least head sideways first. All right, so this would be for Royal Caribbean. I'll pass the time back to Joey to cover the next US stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, let me move on and cover the next one. All right, and okay, so this stock will be right over here, called Alibaba. Styler, I think we have seen you a few times. Thanks for joining us again. Some of you are like familiar, right? I think joining us every Friday, weekly. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I really appreciate it. And let's see, Styler, today you're asking about Alibaba, right? Alibaba seems to hit a strong resistance around 145, 140. Is it time to sell more? All right, okay, good. I assume that you bought it previously and then you are looking to take some profit, right? Taken some profit at 145 over past month ago. Should you take more profits? All right, very good. All right, so let's take a look at Alibaba. All right, so you can see that, guys, for the US market, I've talked about the S&P 500 index, even the two stocks that we talked about just now, like MasterCard, Alibaba, and Royal Caribbean that Z has covered as well. We are indeed seeing weakness, I would say, in general, right, in the US market, right, because of you know, Donald Trump's the tariffs and all that, right? So a lot of the stocks actually have what we call bearish signals from my one GT Pro indicator coming out and pushing down. But if you are looking at another sector, all right, not in the US but in China, right? In China, basically the Chinese tech sector is different, right? It's different. I mean, now Styler is asking about Alibaba, but if I can just share with you guys some names. I mean, Alibaba is one of the biggest technology play in China. All right, we have Tencent, we have Xiaomi, we have Meituan, JD.com. These are all stocks which are in fact doing pretty well. All right, why? Because I think since January I talk about this DeepSeek news, the AI startup. It has a lot of what we call done a lot of re-rating for many of the tech firms in China. All right, Alibaba, Tencent, and everything, right? And also, just over the past 1 month, we had the Chinese government, all right, Xi Jinping actually meeting up with all the top entrepreneurs, the founders of Alibaba, Jack Ma, Pony Ma from Tencent, and showing its support for the technology sector, the AI space, the EV space, all right, 6G, 5G, all right, and that's what it's doing, right? He's trying to show support for tech sector, and of course, this is different from what he did about 4 to 5 years ago, right? In 2020, 2021, you know, there was a Chinese government crackdown, right? The Chinese tech stock like Alibaba and stuff, they're all coming down, all right? Because they want to make sure they get rid of all the excesses and all that, right? But now it's different, right? He's showing support, meeting up with them some more. And even, you know, I think last week there was a National People's Congress, Chinese Premier Li Qiang also announced some funding, right, in terms of helping these companies increase their AI expenditure as well, to do more research, to grow more, right? So they want to kind of like compete the US in that sense, and they want to help this Chinese technology firm. So that's where you could shift all your funds to. I think, you know, right now, the Chinese tech stocks seems to be doing really well. So let's talk about Alibaba right now. So Alibaba styler, let's take a look, right? You can see that very quickly, the longer term trend has been up since like last year. All right. Of course, in the short term, we got a bullish signal somewhere in here in August last year, July. There we go. All right. A bearish signal, want to be careful, get out. You can see all the way down. A couple of bearish signals went sideways a bit, but let me just put your attention to over here. I think somewhere around like January, 24th Jan, 2 days later, 28th Jan, we got two bullish signals coming out, and there we go. You can see started to push up. I would say that would be about 60%, right? 60% in about 2 months. Pretty good, right? Pretty good styler. So I'm not too sure where you got in, but the fact that you're saying that you want to sell means you probably got in somewhere, right? Hopefully it's over the past 3-4 weeks, you would have been sitting on profit. So question, should we take some profit? Correct? Good question, right? Well, the answer is that you can take some profits. Nothing wrong to take some profit, right? And you mentioned about some resistance around the 140 to 145. Well, let me just draw it for you. I would say resistance quite clearly, all right? It's about 145 to about the 150, right? In fact, I'll just put at 150. 150 is a psychological level. So 145 to 150. Every time we near that over the past 2-3 weeks, well, indeed, there's some selling pressure coming back. We are going down a little bit, but the support have came out somewhere around the 130, 130 to 150. Look at it, right? In fact, got a pretty good reversal doji candle right here, rebounded. Now we are 138. So the range is 130 to 150. All right. If you want to take some profit near 150, go ahead. Nothing wrong. You want to sell half, sell 1/3, put in your pocket the money, go ahead, right? But the question is that, can we still see more upside? Well, let me go ahead to see, right? So you can see right over here, we got two bullish signals. The green 20 days moving average line that represents the short-term trend, it is still pointing up. Does it make sense? All right, it's still pointing up. So if you ask me right now, I think this stock is still pretty bullish. I mean, it's not like as if like this green line is like looking at some of the US stocks we talk about, right? They're like all pointing down, right? No, right? It's still pointing up. It's still okay, right? In fact, if we stay above the 130, I think this green line will still continue to point up, maybe sideways a bit, but definitely not down. Does it make sense? All right, so the green 20 days moving average line is pointing up. The short-term trend is up. In fact, I can turn on right here the trailing support line, right? So you can see this is a trailing support. When we had the first bullish signal coming out on January, this trailing support kind of like follow. So this trailing support is one of our very special tool that we use. It's part of this One Good Trend Pro indicator. So it gives the stock space to move up, right? Give it breathing space. If you move up higher, you follow it, all right? And it counts for the volatility as well. So you can see it start to move up, it also follow. And now it is flat. Why? Because it never really moved up over the past 2 weeks. Okay, so it's starting to flatten out. But if price breaks the 150 and push to 170, 180, right? This green trailing support will continue to follow it to move higher, all right? But now never yet, right? So this trailing support provides a bit of space, right? So you can see this trailing support is slightly lower, maybe around the 121, right? But I've drawn the 130 as the horizontal support. The trailing support that gives space is slightly lower because of space, right? So we're still above it. So I think so far so good, all right? As long as you stay above this trailing support or maybe even above the horizontal support, it looks pretty good. But as I say, nothing wrong to take some profit near the 150. You want to go ahead, all right? I'm more looking at, if we break the 150. In fact, if it nears the 130 to right over here, I mean, that's where we have seen some bargain hunting come back. That could be an opportunity to load up more position as well, all right, for a potential break of 150. Because if we break 150, I can tell you guys, we may have another bullish signal coming out, all right? The green line will continue to point up. The trailing support also will follow it, go up some more. Right? It will be even more bullish momentum, right? If we break the 150. Don't ask me when you break. I don't know, right? But I know that if it breaks, I mean, there'll be an alert that will be sent to me. We will have a bullish signal. Or like you can see all these bullish signal that comes out. I mean, we can type the name of any stock and get an opinion in seconds, but we can actually set an alert. Like, let me show you what I mean, right? Set an alert right over here. So the One Good Trend Pro buy or sell alert once per bar. Pump. So when a bullish signal comes out or when a bearish signal comes out, I will know by an email, by an app notification. All right, I don't need to log in and check. All right, I'll receive an alert, then I'll log in and check. Does it make sense? So that's what we could do, right? So I think right now, Styler, I hope that helps you out a little bit, all right? Alibaba is still pretty good. 150 is a major resistance. Nothing wrong to take some profit, but I'm more looking at, if that breaks, I think we could see even more upside. And maybe, sorry, let me just go ahead to show you, right, where we are right now. So I mentioned about 2020, 2021, right? Okay, let me just go ahead to turn down this trailing support and maybe these signals, right? You can see we are now right over here, right? 130. If you look back, all right, right over here, it is somewhere over here, right, in July 2021. Of course, that time was like all the way down, Chinese government crackdown, right? So the high was about 300, right? About 300, right? Let me just draw this resistance level right over here, right? So we are still in the midst of a reversal, right? We're still in the midst of reversal. We are like 138, right? The high was 300. I'm not saying that we will surely, wow, because I draw this 300, that was where we were in 2021, means we will surely go up to there. But the point here is that we are in the midst of reversal, right? That could be the gap that we can try to attempt to close, to consolidate, to move up slowly and higher. Of course, while these bullish signals continue to play out. All right, okay? So this will give you a bit of a perspective of where we are right now compared to 3, 4, 5 years ago. All right, so let me pass on the mic to Bervyn, all right, to cover the next US stock. Go ahead, Bervyn.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, I think next one. Okay, here we go. Jimmy is asking how far can INTC go? So I believe you are asking about this Intel. Yeah, because I think this is one of the latest news. I think they just changed, or a new CEO has just been announced. I think so far it looks like the market is rather positive about this news, as the stock prices has risen quite a bit last night. Yeah, but we actually also see sellers actually come in, as we are not able to break above that 24. We broke above, but we did not manage to hold above it and close above it as market close as well. So that's not a bad thing as well, because for those of you who have actually bought a little bit on the lower side, the $18 level, that support level, tending to do a swing trade, we are right around that level where some people are looking to take some profits as well. So nothing wrong, like Joey has mentioned just now, there's nothing wrong to actually take profits close to a resistance, especially where you see this 100 days and 200 days moving average. Just zoom in a little bit. 100 days and 200, sorry, this is the 100 day, is the red one. Blue one is the 200 days, are still pointing down. So the longer term trend is still not too good. It's still in a downtrend. We do not want to hold counters like this for a longer term. But the 20 days moving average sloped up a bit. Then now we are flattening out as well. So maybe are we running out of momentum? Hard to say. We're running out of momentum is hard to say, but I think one sign that you can actually look out for is if we are able to break above this 24 and hold above it. That's where the next upside could be up to this $28 level, very close level right here. That is about another 15% upside, Jimmy, another 15% upside from there. If we are able to hold above this 24 level, so perhaps what you could do would be, you can actually take a partial profit if you are intending to continue to ride that momentum. But let's just turn on our trailing support and resistance right here. We could see that the prices actually tested the trailing resistance yesterday right around at $24 as well. Not able to close above it, hence we do not have a 1GT bullish signal that had appeared. So I think for yourself, I think right now you want to set some alerts to show that prices have firmly broken above that $24 level. Perhaps we can set some alerts 24.20, 24.30, higher and higher. I think then that's where you got to start, perhaps using some stop limit orders to protect your profits as you ride the uptrend or ride any form of reversal for this Intel right now. But with the longer term trend in mind, perhaps you gotta be a bit more careful as well. You don't want to have suddenly your profits, your near-term profits turn into losses as well, because sellers could come back at any time to actually push prices back down, especially in the current market conditions. All right, okay, so that's a very quick one for Intel. Z, can you bring us through the next stock?
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so the next stock that I'll be covering will be this counter called NEO. Okay, so David is actually asking for NEO, right? Currently there is two 1GT indicators. Should we buy, right? So David, you're right. Right here, we turn on the 1GT. Indeed, there is two 1GT indicator, but that before that, right? The thing is that when you turn on the 1GT indicator, right, it doesn't mean that whenever you see a 1GT bullish indicator, you straight away go and buy. We still got to go and analyze the trend first. We still got to look at the bigger picture, right, before actually making any decision to actually buy into any stocks. So first thing first, if we look at the trend, I mean from 2024 all the way to now, I mean 2024 to October, somewhere here, right, downtrend is definitely intact based on the moving averages, right? Right over here in September, October, this is where we saw actually earnings result came out, right? So probably this could be a catalyst whereby we actually saw two 1GT bullish indicator coming out, pushing price up all the way to close to this $8 level, right? So close to this $8 level, whereby then we actually start to see selling pressure returning with a super long bearish candle and price start to actually decline, right? And this is where I would say $8, near the $8 would be a psychological resistance, right? But then moving forward, we actually saw that, you know, the longer term trend, the blue and the red line is actually kind of still moving downwards and slightly actually tapering out and heading sideways, but gently is still like kind of like sloping downwards, right? But 20 days moving average short term trend definitely went up, came down again, crossed below both of the longer term moving average. And what is actually happening over the past few months since last year November is whereby price is actually kind of like just moving sideways, but kind of like going down, moving sideways and going down over the past few months, right? I mean, of course, right now we do see a 1GT bullish indicator, but just take note, David, because they are actually releasing their earnings, right? On, I think it's not too far away. It's actually on 21st of March as well. I mean, I wouldn't know if this whole situation will actually happen again because of the earnings, right? Earnings could be a very huge catalyst. Price could actually go up or go down. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to predict as well. But if prices were to actually break out above this 560 resistance, then definitely potentially we can see price heading back towards this $8 right over here, whereby we have mentioned previously that this is potentially a resistance level that we can actually take note of. All right, this is if price based on the earnings is good, you know, the forecast is actually good, and you know, market sentiment for this particular counter is great. Price swing up, gap up, and went all the way up to $8. This is where one could potentially take some profits as well near the resistance, right? But of course, if the earnings is not good, right, and price actually came down unable to hold above this very crucial support level at this $4, this is where you got to be a bit more careful for this stock, and this is where we can actually see more weakness returning back to this particular counter. All right, so just FYI, because earnings usually can actually affect the stock very much, it can go either way, so you might want to be a bit more careful for this stock for now. All right, so that would be for NEO. I'll pass the time back to Joey for the next US stock.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Zee, let me move on to the next one. And let me go to cover Crowdstrike. All right, Crowdstrike. I think Megan Lim, you're asking about CRWD, which would be Crowdstrike right over here on my screen. Which level to buy? All right, so I assume you are looking to buy because maybe it's come down a bit cheaper. You have been monitoring it. It was like $400 over dollar, or now $300 over dollar, very cheap, right? But don't know when to buy, right? Very good. Let's go to see and discover if we should buy right now, tomorrow, next week, or maybe we wait first, okay? So you can see this is Crowdstrike. I've turned on the bullish signals and bearish signals as well for my 1GT Pro indicator. And you can see very quickly, we had a couple of bullish signals, right, in 2023. Not too bad, right? I think in 2023 was, in fact, one of the top performing stock, right? Some bullish signals. And we've gone up all the way here, 100% in like 8 months, all right? Went up a bit more. We got some bearish signals. So when you see a bearish signal, then I think be careful, right? Don't buy because you can see all the way down. You buy and you get stuck, okay? Can wait for the bullish signal to come back out. And that was what happened in August last year. Well, another one come out, right? Another one come out, and then it went all the way up by how many percent? I would say about 72%, all right, in about 5 months. But over the past 2 weeks, what happened over the past 2 weeks? In fact, it seems like over the past 2 weeks, this we can take here and like, you know, from here, we can paste to here. Seems like these two bearish signals like about same like that, right? So it's we got two bearish signal coming out, whereby we are indeed seeing some weakness in the short term, right? Seeing weakness in the short term. So I think your question would be, so now that we are seeing weakness, we have sold off, should we think about buying? So first thing first, right? Whenever we see a bearish signal, I think especially if you have got in from here, I mean, based on the bullish signal, you got in, ride it all the way here, 75%, you see a bearish signal, I think 75% quite okay lah, right? Don't need to be greedy lah, okay? You can take a bit of profit, take 60%, 70% also very good, okay? So it's good to get out, right? Take some profit, all right? Whether to get back in again, that's another thing. But first of all, when you see a bearish signal, it guides you to get out, all right? So I think one thing about stock market is that people are always thinking about buying, get in, but don't know when to get out. All right, so don't do that. All right, don't do that. Make sure you want to know when to get out, because if you don't get out, then after that, from make become lose. All right, then what's the point? All right, so very important. Getting out is important. So as I said, you want to find a bit more on how to get out, when to get out at the right time. 10 of those free webinars. Right, later I share you guys the link again. But right now, you can see that we are seeing maybe, just maybe, a bit of support around the $300 right over here. So $300, you can see. Okay, let me just remove this. Remove this. So we had three bullish signals coming out. You can see 300 was where it was a resistance level, became a support. We held above it for about 2 weeks before pushing higher after we got the second bullish signal. So right now, you can see we have sold off quite strongly down. Now it's 332, right? So I think 300 would be a very good psychological support. If you want to really think about buying, that could be a level. All right? It is not confirmed just go and buy there. No, right? That could be a potential level whereby we might see some bargain hunting. It's a buying zone whereby, we have rebounded previously. We might see some bargain hunting over there, all right? But what are some other confirmations that you want to look out for, right? Well, we could wait for a bullish signal. I mean, look at it. I mean, here we got like pump, right? Then it went down, then a bullish signal came out, right? So my question is that, have we see this from here, right? Can we like take and put over here? Has it came out? Maybe here, I don't know, right? But has it come out yet? Haven't yet, right? So probably don't want to buy until we see a confirmation of the bullish signal coming out, until we see the short-term trend, this green 20 days moving average line going down, maybe start to point up. Yes, but now the green line is still pointing down, right? So the short-term trend is still down. Then why you want to buy? All right. Wait for the confirmation to come. When it comes, it comes. In fact, if the $300 support were to break down, I can tell you it will not come. Right, the green line will continue to point down. Right, and if you just get in, you get stuck. Does it make sense? So you want to get more confirmations to point towards the reversal. That's what you could do to get it. All right. So if you want to know like when the bullish signal comes out, well, then it would be good to have this 1GT Pro indicator. All right, you can just set an alert. In fact, I can just show you right here, One Good Trend Pro, buy or sell alert once per bar. Create, in fact, again, so this is a notification, right? Notifying app, show toast notifications, like a pop-up over here, send an email, I receive an email, right? Let me just set it right over here. Pam, that's it, right? Where the bullish signal comes out, my phone will ring. That's where I'll know. All right, then I'll check it out and then we'll plan what to do. All right, so you're gonna find a bit more and say, attend one of those free webinars. Perhaps you could have this as well, right, to guide you on when to get in, but probably not now. Maybe next 2-3 weeks time, stabilize first. Then that could be a good opportunity. All right, so let me just place the link. I think some of you are privately messaging me. All right, how to get this indicator and how to join the webinar and stuff. I mentioned about the webinar a few times. I'll just place the link in the chat one more time. I just click on the link. Very simple. We have one webinar coming out in about 2 weeks time. So just click on the link in the chat. This is the page that you'll be directed to. All right. Attention aspiring traders and investors who want to dominate the market in 2025, right? A lot of opportunities. 25th of March 2025, Tuesday, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Enter your name, email, phone number. This is what we have covered. 3 secrets, but this is pretty much the page. Click on the link in the chat. All right, come to this page, register for a free webinar, and that is where I look forward to share with you guys a bit more on the entire strategy and perhaps how you could have like an indicator like this to guide you on when to get in, maybe when to get out. I think that's even more important. All right, okay? So this is Crowdstrike. Megan, I hope you have a better understanding of Crowdstrike. Let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to share the next US stock.
Thank you, Joey. Okay, I think, let me see, what stock do I want to cover? Let's see here. Okay, maybe I'll cover one of the more popular ones. Is Microsoft in a downtrend? Should I sell? Okay, let me just change it. Microsoft. Okay, here we have Microsoft right here. I think, yes, I think that's a very, 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 very good question. Is the Magnificent Seven starting to show weakness? Is it starting to be in a downtrend? Should we be selling, taking some profits? I think if we just look at the longer term trends first for Microsoft, let me just turn off these signals first. Yeah. Hold on. Okay. So right here, we can see that the longer term moving averages for Microsoft have been pretty much, just moving sideways, nothing much going on, just moving sideways. Okay, then, but prices have also been what we call consolidating right above these 390, 385 to 390 level, heading up higher to the 450 level for Microsoft, and then sellers start to come back down again. Just in that move for like the past 1 year already. Nothing much going on. So I think right now, after prices had tested this 450 level, once again, somewhere in January, we then saw prices sell down alongside those other Magnificent 7 stocks as well. And right here, I think that's about a week ago, the 390 level finally gave way after it tested it a few times in the last year, 2 times last year. Finally, we are below it. Is this a sign to be buying or selling? If we look at the 20 days moving average, it doesn't show us signs of strength, but in fact, it actually shows us that there is selling momentum or selling pressure that actually come in. Sellers are actually in control pretty much, right? Because if prices are able to rebound from this 390, yes, then maybe we can come back to a same consolidation phase, still remaining within the 390 to $450 range. But right here, we saw that the 390 is actually being broken already. So where would the next downside be? Especially if you're intending to hold the counter, I think the next support would be right around this 365 level, 365. Okay, so then that would be a downside of about 6% from that 390 level. So if you're intending to hold on to this counter, I think perhaps you will also have to consider like a stop losses plan, even if it's for a longer term holding, because you do not want to see like the 100 days and 200 days moving average start to slope downwards, and then we enter a phase where maybe your losses are a little bit too wide. Perhaps right now you are still sitting on a little bit of profits. That's when you can actually also still get out and then wait for prices to perhaps stabilize towards that next support, about this 365 level before getting in again. So if we were to just turn on buy and sell signals first, let's see. Okay, we are actually seeing one, 2, 1 GT bearish signals that actually came in the last 2 months. Prices started to sell down, pump, come down. If this $365 support level is broken, you may see another 1 GT bearish signal appear. Then that is where there is further selling pressure that could come in as well. So then that's not where you want to be, especially if you're holding it for quite a while, you're sitting on some profits. Nothing wrong to get out first, wait for prices to stabilize, and then get back in. Alternatively, you can also just let's check out the trailing support and resistance. We of course see a trailing resistance because of the prices had actually broken below this short little trailing support right here. Then prices started to come down. So what we want to see is actually for the trailing resistance, for it to come down, and then also move sideways instead of going down and down and down and down and down. There is a sign that the trailing resistance is actually getting lower and lower and lower. That means the prices are also getting lower and lower and lower. We want prices to move sideways along with the trailing resistance and eventually break above it, so that we can see a little bit more buying come back in. So I think for now, there's no rush to get in for Microsoft. And if you are holding on to some Microsoft shares, I think you can consider to lock in some of those profits in this downtrend. Alternatively, if you're looking to buy, let's watch this 365 level if it's able to hold. Yeah, so I think that is a very clear-cut analysis for Microsoft. Hope that helps. Z, can you bring us through the next stock?
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so the next stock that I will be actually covering would be an ETF actually. So I think somebody is actually asking. I think Jing Hong. I think I'm reading your name correctly because I had to Google and read how to pronounce your name. But Jing Hong. Okay, I'm trying to pronounce your name correctly. Okay, I hope it's correct. And I'll be covering Nasdaq index. So Nasdaq index, one of the more popular ones, right, will be QQQ lah. Okay. So this just want to reiterate as well for the 1GT Pro indicator. As long as it can be for any asset class, right? Even like ETFs such as this, it can also be for stocks, whereby Joey and Bervyn have been covering just now as well, right? And also the index itself, right? So let's take a look at QQQ, right? Because QQQ is actually one of the ETFs that gives you exposure to, you know, those counters, such as more of them are actually in the tech, you know, augmented reality. I'm just looking at this investor sheet right now. So some of their biggest holdings, such as like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon. So some people, they don't really know what tech stock to buy, right? They want to have multiple exposure in different tech stocks. So this is one of the ETFs that you can actually look out for as well. So let's take a look at the trend for QQQ. So for QQQ 2024, it has been a brilliant year, right? Prices have been heading all the way up, moving averages are up. Only starting from December last year, that's where we actually saw some weakness returning in terms of the short-term trend, because that's where the price have actually started to move sideways a bit within this range of 500, whereby this was actually a support level, right? This $500 level right over here, which is the support, and the resistance around 540, whereby we actually saw sellers actually returning multiple times, right? One time here, neared it, two times here, two times here, and then three times here, touch it, and then that's where price started to come back down, right? And very recently, we actually even see 1GT bearish signal coming out right over here. And if I were to zoom in a bit, this is where we also see the 20 days moving average. It's still pointing down, and it has also broken below the red line, right? It has also broken below the red line. In terms of the longer term trend wise, the red and the blue line, it still looks okay. It still looks okay, but there could potentially be some sideways consolidation happening. Not too sure as of now, because both of this longer term trend is actually flattening out, right? So in terms of sideways consolidation, I'm not sure when it could actually happen, but it could happen like this, or it could happen like this as well. So longer term trend, potentially we may see some sideways consolidation, and hopefully we also have some sideways consolidation, because we don't want to see price keep dipping and dipping because of Trump policies and uncertainties within the economy, right? So hopefully we do see some sideways consolidation and some support coming back for QQQ. So one of the key support level, right, that you might want to take note, right, would be this 440 level, 440 to perhaps about 450 level right over here. This would be the next support level that maybe you want to take note of. If prices were to actually dip back, below to this level, I'm not sure if it will actually, when will it actually reach this 440, or it will actually even go back to this 440, right? But if prices were to reach this level, then for some of the long-term investors, that's where you can consider to actually potentially accumulate on the dips as well. But of course, if prices were to break below this 440, that's definitely where we will see the longer-term moving average, right? The red and the blue line, this is where both of them will also start to actually point downwards, and that is actually not a good sign for the longer term trend as well, right? So that would be for a very quick one for QQQ, right? So as mentioned by Bervyn and Joey much earlier on, again, same thing, no rush to actually buy into this stock. Continue to monitor first and make sure that you actually monitor for some stability before actually entering. All right, so that would be for QQQ. I'll pass the time back to Joey.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let me move on to the next US stock. Let me see, right? I think one of you is asking about some very popular stock right here called, let's see. Tesla, all right? I think Tesla is the one. I think I've just put out Tesla. Let me just go with Jason. Jason, you're asking about Tesla. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so this is Tesla right over here. So I think Tesla, all of you know, we have seen a bit of weakness over the past one month, all right? And that was even before Donald Trump's announcement of the tariffs and all that. Essentially, Elon Musk now is kind of like the head of the DOGE, the DOG, Department of Government Efficiency, all right? So he's pretty busy with the whole, making all the cuts out in the staff, all right, cutting out all the waste in the government. And some people are saying that, now Tesla, which is, he's the founder of Tesla as well. He might not be putting a lot of energy or effort into that, right? So we are seeing a bit of weakness. Of course, Tesla sales has came down as well a little bit. We have like BYD sales overtaking Tesla over the past few months, all right? And we are seeing a bit of weakness, I would say, over the past few weeks. So you can see that for Tesla, we have a little bit of, some really good bullish signals somewhere in October, 2 bullish signals, pop, all the way up, all right? And in fact, I can show you guys right over here. I can just turn on the trailing support level. So one thing good about this indicator is such that, I can turn on, of course, the bullish signals that came out. So when the bullish signals came out, you can see we have a trailing support that actually pops up. It follows Tesla as it moves up, right? From about 246 all the way up to here when we got bearish signal, 73% in about 2 months, right? But when it was moving up, you can see this trailing support follows, flat up, flat up, flat, follows it as it moves up. It gave it space to hopefully move higher, all right? And of course, it accounts for the volatility as well, all right? If you're more volatile, we give you more space. Not so volatile, then lesser space. And right over here, you can see finally, the bearish signal came out, right? Not just yesterday or last week, but since December, all right, 31st December. So I'm not too sure, Jason, you're looking to buy or sell, all right? Or maybe you've gotten in, I don't know whether you've got out, but we got a bearish signal in December, all right, about 2-3 months back. And that was because we broke the trailing support. And you can see now it pops out the trailing resistance. And of course, as Tesla moves down and down, the trailing resistance follow it as it goes down. All right. So are we below the trailing resistance right now? Yes. Right. It's the green 20 days moving average line that was like pretty strong, going up. Has it turned down now? Yes. In fact, it's still going down. All right. It's still going down. So I would say that the trend, all right, for Tesla is down. In the short term, it is still down. Longer term, look at the red and blue line. Well, longer term is a bit up to sideways. It's still fine. But the fact is that the short term is down. We don't want to buy when the short term is down. And also, we also don't want to hold on to it when we get a bearish signal, especially when the short term trend has turned down as well. All right. So let me go ahead to see what could you do right now. So I'm not too sure. Maybe you can just type in the chat, Jason, are you looking to buy or sell? Because you just type Tesla and TVGN. All right. But not too sure you're looking to buy or sell Tesla. But right now, you can see that 200. Let me just draw this level right here. All right. If you are looking to buy, all right, let's assume that you're looking to buy. All right. Because you wanted to buy at 440 or 300, but you didn't buy. Lucky never buy. Our Heng came down already, are cheaper, right? So you're looking to buy. Let's assume that, because I have no idea. But if you're looking to buy, that could be a potential zone, right? 200. Anything near 200, I think that is where potentially we could see some bargain hunting. You see, that was where we had a bullish signals in October came out as well. Right over here, it was a psychological resistance, came down. You can see we broke the 200 and supported above it, and we started to push up. So I think 200, which is where we are near right now, could be also where some bargain hunting can come back again, all right? But same thing like what I mentioned, right? Is it time to buy today or tomorrow or next week? Maybe not yet. Why? We want to wait until, like, this thing here, if I can take, and put it over here. If it comes back out here again, we got 2 bullish signals, and then of course the green line that is going down also start to go back up. Yes. All right, then we can consider to get back in. All right, has it come yet? Don't know. When we come, don't know. Right, definitely not today. I don't think it's coming out anytime today, because we're still seeing selling. The short-term trend is still down. So when that comes, I think that could be an indication that, like, some bargain hunting is coming back. A potential reversal move is, in a play right now, and that's where you could think about getting in. All right, so I hope that makes sense. All right, so Jason, that is for Tesla. Bervyn, going to cover the next US stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. I think the next stock, I think Jean was asking, I'm waiting to sell AIG. Should I do it now as it has hit all-time high? Okay, let me just throw up my screen right here. Okay, here we go. On my screen here, we have this. Let me just turn off the signal so I have to get a little bit cleaner. Okay, so we have AIG, American International Group. I think it saw quite a push upwards over the last 2 months. Not too bad. We actually saw from its low to its current position, that's about a 16% upside. A very good upside in this market already. And we saw that prices have actually broken above this very clear resistance right here, where it has tested a few times, consolidated here, tested once, tested twice, 3 times, came close 4 times, and on the 5th time we broke and held above this psychological resistance of $80. But we also see one thing right here. We saw that the 100 and 200 days moving average is sloping up a little, but I would still say it's still pretty much in a consolidation phase. We do not see clear signs of it pointing up very aggressively, very steeply, no. But that on the other hand, we saw that this 20 days moving average is sloping up very clearly very clearly, just under the $80 level. So that's a good sign. Buyers, the momentum is there, buyers are still there. Every time prices hit close to this $80 level, we see buying come back. See, as of yesterday, prices open lower, push lower, and then push back higher above this $80 level. So should you be selling? That is your question. Should you be selling? I think the next upside, if we just do a simple projection from this previous support of about $72, let's just project upwards. Right here, the next upside could be about this $87 to $88 level as well. So I think if you want to hold on to this counter, I think it's still fine. Trend is still looking good at this point. It's one of those counters that actually still performs well in this market. But I think what you got to do is perhaps you may want to, if you have the 1GT pro indicator with you, I think you may want to turn on the trailing support and resistance. Look at the trailing support lines right here. So at this point, you could either one, use this trailing support as a level where if prices break below this trailing support, that's when you want to have like a stop limit order in place, protect those profits. Or alternatively, if you want to place a stop loss to protect your profits, below this $80 psychological level, that is fine too. That will help you to protect your profits, especially if the volatile market at this point. I think that's okay. But I think you may also look at this 1GT bullish signals. You saw 2 bullish signals, prices headed higher. If we are able to see one more 1GT bullish signal come up, I think the buying momentum could continue, and you can continue to shift your stop limits orders higher and higher alongside that trailing support as well, to just protect more and more profits as well. So even if the market starts to turn, or specifically this counter starts to turn downwards, you would still be able to get out with profits. So, but I think in your case, maybe you want to set some alerts to perhaps get alerted on, those new 1GT bullish signals that comes out as well. So I think that is a very, very good counter to be continue to leave it on your watch list as well. I think American International Group, I think I should put it on my watch list as well. So I think that is a very quick one for it. Z, can you bring us through the next stock?
Okay, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, so the next one would be Pepsi Cola, right? So I'll be analyzing Pepsi Cola because I saw Chester is actually asking for Pepsi Cola. Is it time to add for dividends? Okay, so for Chester, based on your question, right, like this, I would assume that perhaps you are someone who actually looks for dividend and want passive income, lah, right? So for such case, right, for passive income for dividend, maybe one thing I would like to share with you first before actually diving into this stock analysis and this trend analysis, right? Pepsi Cola, this is actually listed in the US. So if you do get dividends, just note that there is a 30% withholding tax. Okay, so for every $1 dividend, they will actually take 30 cents. You only get 70 cents. All right. So that is one thing to note for stocks that are in the US and you're actually getting dividends. Okay, so for Pepsi Cola, let's take a look at this. For Pepsi Cola, I mean, since 2024, it has kind of like just been, moving sideways, not much action, up and down, and it's pretty much within a range, I would say. And the support back then, right, if we were to see right over here, it's somewhere about this 155, right? So this back then was a support because it has actually been tested multiple times, right? It kind of broke above here, neared it, touched, and this is where it actually eventually broke down below this 155. And when it was actually in this range, it is also quite clear that we actually have some sort of resistance right over here at this 576 level, whereby that's where selling pressure came back in multiple times as well, which actually resulted in the range that we actually saw over the past couple of months, right, since in 2024. And after it has broken down right now, so if we were to look at this trend right over here, and we can actually see somewhere at the start of 2025, this is where the longer term trend, the 100 days and the 200 days moving average cross, right? The red is below the blue, right? So means 200 is actually below, the 200 is actually above the 100 days, which is not so good, right, in terms of longer term trend. But short term trend wise, it has also been pointing down, but very recently we actually do see some strength returning in this counter. And perhaps maybe one of the reason that I would say likely is because this is more of a defensive counter, right? And plus right now, the market is not so certain because of Trump policy. Maybe that's the reason why there could be some strength returning to such defensive counters as well, right? But that being said, the longer term trend still doesn't look that good, right? Because both are actually still pointing down. It is not pointing up yet. Even though we actually see 1 GT bullish signal yet, but the thing is that we want to buy when the trend is actually up, or at least it is like breaking above the resistance first, right? Breaking and holding above the resistance. So right over the past few weeks, we actually see prices actually testing this 155, right? But I mean, it didn't manage to hold above it firmly. Like, it is still like kind of like flirting around this 155, and then after that it suddenly gap down and drop. So it is not very clear yet of the short term trend, right? Because even though we actually do see some strength, but it is still volatile. And when we are actually thinking of buying stocks for dividend, right, we don't just want to purely focus on the dividends that the counter actually give, right? Because you could be buying at a low price, but if the trend is actually continuing to head down and continue to go down, you collect dividend one side, but on the other hand, your capital actually go out. So you net, you take and you give, net becomes zero lah. So when we think about dividend stocks, we want to also look for stocks that are actually at least moving sideways. I would say at least moving sideways, not in a downtrend. Okay, so Chester, I hope that helps to give you a better analysis for Pepsi. And now I will pass the time back to Joey for the next US stock.
All right, thank you so much. Let me go ahead to cover the next US stock, and that would be Apple. I think Jimmy, you're asking about Apple AAPL, one of the very popular, fundamentally strong stock that I get asked quite often on as well. We have over here as well. How about Apple, right? So yeah, let me go to cover Apple right now. So this is Apple on my screen right now. I think a few of you are asking about Apple, so let's go to cover this. So you can see that I've turned on the 1 GT Pro indicator. Okay, let me just turn it off first so it's not so messy, but right over here, I could draw this very key support level, right over here. I think Apple is, to be honest, right, it is looking really, really, really attractive. All right, it could be a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity coming in real soon. All right, let me show you what I mean. Let me just draw this line right over here. I think that would be the 200 level. All right, 200. Just write it down. I mean, look at this $200. Since 2023, 2 years back, was a resistance level, right? We just couldn't get above it, right? It was a major resistance came down. Finally, all right, just last year in June, I did a video on it. That's why you can check it out on my YouTube. We broke the 200 after almost a year of staying below it, selling coming in, right? We broke it, great. It's like a new phase up, all right? We saw a bit of selling, came back up, but then selling came back and we went down. Went down to where? Well, went down to the same 200, and we went down there. That's one thing. We respected the same resistance, turn support. Some bullish candlestick came out over here as well. All right. So this 200 is very key. All right. It's a psychological level. It's very key. Anything near there, it looks to be really, really attractive. All right. Am I looking to get in there? Yes, I am as well. All right, not today, not tonight. All right, soon. All right, soon. If it hits to near the $200, of course, we wait for a few more other things. But to be honest, it looks really, really cheap. All right. Okay, so that is a price level that you want to take note of, right? The next thing will be this, right? Resistance level. So when we draw a support level, good. That is where potentially some buying pressure can come back. All right, where some bargain hunting can appear as well. Right. A resistance level, on the other hand, I would say around 250 to maybe, I mean, you can push up to 260 system was where we were in like December. All right, so 200 to 260. So you can see, right, it is indeed quite attractive. Now is what? 209, right? 209. Is it above 200? Yeah, it's still above 200 lah. 209, right? 200 is this green support level that I've drawn. All right. So I think if we were to hit to near 200, right? I'm not too sure whether we'll hit it tomorrow or tonight or what, but if we near that 200 to be 202, 205, 206, I think that's where we might see some bargain hunting coming back. You see that's where some buyers actually appeared and pushed prices back up as we neared it, right? But we don't want to just buy because it hits that, all right? We want to wait for some confirmation. So now let me go ahead to turn on the 1GT Pro indicator. All right, let's turn it on. 1, 2, 3, pump. And let's see what happens, right? Are there any bullish or bearish signals over the past few months? All right, so you could see, okay, I don't go too far, but you know, somewhere in like February last year, I've got bearish signal, pump, all the way down. 2 new bullish signals now. Pretty good. It was a pretty good bullish signal right here. It was about 170, about 180, and there we go. All right, a bearish signal came down, sideways a bit. A bullish signal went back up, but let's see what is happening right now. Well, over the past 2 weeks, right, we had some bearish signals coming out. All right, we got some bearish signals coming out. Not 1, but 2 bearish signals. Have we hit lower? Yes, we are hitting lower. So when we see a bearish signal, basically, it can just show that, you know, that there's some selling pressure. We could be seeing a bit of weakness in the short term. All right. So what do we want to do right now? Well, I would say that $200 will be a very key support level, right? What I'm looking for would be at least some signs. I think I mentioned it in my previous analysis as well for other stocks, right? We want to have some signs of at least the short-term trend. So the longer-term trend for Apple is okay, all right? The red and blue line, to be honest, is okay. Maybe a bit of up, maybe a bit of sideways is okay. But the short-term trend, to be honest, if you ask me today or yesterday or last week, it is down. I mean, if I can take a look at the green 20 days moving average line, it was like up a bit sideways and now it's pointing down. So it has turned down. We have 2 bearish signals. So probably not yet. We want to just let it stabilize first. All right? See if the $200 will hold. Let the green line stop pointing down. I mean, at least just flatten out, right? Don't point down, right? Once it flatten out, above the 200, maybe near 210, 205 or what, great. It just means that this $200 would be a good support level that we have talked about, right? And yes, indeed now is really the support, right? That's coming out. Great. That's where we could think about maybe locking in some positions. Of course, when we get a bullish signal right around here, anything from 200 to 210 or 220, that could be another confirmation that we are starting to see our reversal move back up. All right, so that is for Apple. It looks really attractive. To be honest, yes, it's very attractive. Anything near 200, I'm definitely eyeing it, but just be a bit more patient. Let's wait for it to come. Wait to see the stability before thinking about getting it. All right, so that would be for Apple. All right, let me just pass on the mic to Bervyn to cover the next US stock.
Thanks, Joey. I think speaking of attractive, I think Andrew is asking, is Nvidia a good buy now? So let me just change it to my screen. Okay, so I think another of the counter that I think is looking a little bit attractive, actually, in fact, very attractive right now, is Nvidia, where actually we saw prices have actually came down quite a bit. So we just very quickly, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 1GT bearish signals. Then we are right now at very close to that 110 to 115 support area already. 110 to 115 support area. I think right now it looks like there are a little bit of buyers that actually came back in the last 2 days, but I'm not too sure if the momentum can sustain, as we are still seeing weakness in the 20 days moving average. So the nearer term trend isn't doing too well. And the longer term trend wise, I think the 200 days moving average is still looking like it's sloping up, but the 100 days moving average is sloping down at this point. But I think many are still very, very keen in getting in for this counter. But I think if this 110 level or is not able to hold, think the downside could be towards that $95 level, where previously it had tested it a few times, 1, 2, 3, before we had also a 1 GT bullish signal and prices started to head up. But right now, are we at that buy zone where we are going to be able to see some bargain hunting come back in? I think it's still hard to say right now. Still hard to say. I don't know whether it will rebound, or I don't know whether it will break below. I think right now it is still a wait and see game. It's still a wait and see game. I would not rule out that the fact that it could rebound higher back to that 130 level first, where perhaps, you know, if it breaks above this level, we could see the reversal or the nearer term strength firm up a little more as well. So if I were to turn on my trailing support and resistance, see that the trailing resistance, yeah, it is rather close to that 130 horizontal resistance level as well. So if prices are able to break and hold above, that's where we can see that 1 GT bullish signal come back in, and perhaps prices could head back towards that high of $150. So is it a good time to buy now? I think now maybe it's a wait and see, like I said. Let's continue to monitor for a few days, but set some alerts to let yourself know if that 110 level is broken, or if prices are heading towards that 130 level. I think it is okay to buy it at a premium, but you just want a little bit more confirmation on the trend. Doesn't mean that prices come down and you just buy at the 95, buy at 80. No, then that will be a very, very dangerous thing to do, because you are throwing good money after bad. So we want to let that trend confirm, let that trend show us a little bit more confirmation before we get in. All right, okay, so that's for Nvidia. Z, can you bring us through the next stock?
Okay, thanks, Bervyn. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so I will be covering the next stock, and it is called Adobe, because I saw Amanda is actually asking Adobe can buy. Let's take a look at Adobe. Okay, so Adobe over the past year, 2024, like if we take a look from 2024, it has kind of like been in a downtrend. There's some weakness in this counter, right? Because that's where we actually saw 1 GT bearish signal coming out, 20 days moving average cross below both the longer term. Then subsequently, it's kind of like up and down a bit within like a sideways movement, and then it actually started to break down again, whereby we actually saw some weakness back into the counter based on the 20 days moving average. But across this bigger picture, right, I mean, one of the key things that we can actually spot right over here would be this $400 psychological level right over here, right? This $400 psychological level, because this was where price actually broke above it in 2023, right? May 2023, and actually managed to hold above it, even though selling pressure came back in, still hold above it somewhere here in April to June, actually hold above it by about $40, right? Not even close to the 400. And then that's where somewhere in 2025, start of 2025, that's where selling pressure came back in, push price back down right over here in January. It still managed to hold above it, rebounded back up. But it was yesterday we actually saw price closing below the $400 psychological level right over here, and it didn't just close below it. It gapped down quite a bit, and then it closed even lower than it actually opened. Plus, yesterday we actually had a 1 GT bearish signal coming out, and I just take a quick check because I believe it's probably due to the catalyst of this was actually due to the earnings, and there isn't there's a mixed outlook for this current quarter. And the thing is that it didn't meet the market expectations, so hence it actually gapped down, and that is where we actually got a 1 GT bearish signal coming out, right? So at this point in time, if we look at the trend, based on the moving average, the longer term trend doesn't look that good, right? Because I mean, 200 days is above the 100 days blue, above the red, and it's definitely above the green. And because of yesterday's price action, we can clearly see that the green has started to dip back down again. Previously, I mean, over the past couple of months, from January to March, it has kind of like been going sideways, up a bit, sideways, but yesterday it actually started to dip back down. So all three moving averages are heading in one direction, and that is downwards, right? That is downwards. So where can we potentially see price heading towards, right? Now that it has broken the $400 psychological level. So this 400 previously was a support, so now it has become a resistance, right? So where would the potentially next resistance that support level that we are looking at? It will be at this level 320, which was actually back in 2023, right? So downside that we are looking at would be towards this 320 level right over here. So that could be a potential of 20% downside that we are actually looking at. So to Amanda's question, can you buy actually Adobe? I wouldn't stop you from buying Adobe, but personally, I wouldn't buy because if we look at the trend, it's not doing that well. Okay, it's not doing that well. So for Adobe at this point in time, I will refrain from buying first. To want to at least monitor for the stock to actually stabilize first. Because of yesterday's earning release, right? And you might want to see like at least where is the next support coming back in? Is it at 320? Perhaps it could be coming in back earlier at 350. I wouldn't know, right? But at least to monitor for stabilization first before thinking of buying, because price could actually dip lower, right? So that would be a very quick one for Adobe. I'll pass the time back over to Joey.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let me go to share my screen and move on to the next US stock. So I think now it's about 12 p.m., guys. We've gone on for about 1.5 hours. Let's just do one more round. All right, me, Bervyn and Zee, cover 3 more stocks. And as I say, right at the beginning, at the end of today's live show, each of us will be, I mean, we've covered all your stocks, right? So now give us a chance to share ours, right? So each of us will share with you, right, one US stock that is in our watch list, right, and that could potentially be more upside. You might want to put it in your watch list as well, right? Of course, we have some bullish signals still looking pretty defensive, pretty good, even though we have witnessed in the markets over the past few weeks. All right, so let's move on to the next stock, all right, and this would be Sofai Technology. I think Vio, you're asking about this stock, right? Sofai, S-O-F-I, okay to average down or not, all right? So I believe we mean average down means you have probably bought it previously. I'm not too sure what price, but you bought it and maybe it came down. I mean, yeah, it came down from like 17, 16, 15. Now it's about $11 plus. We have 2 bearish, not one, but 2 bearish signals coming out. So, that's how an indicator can help you. Of course, if you see a bearish signal, maybe you could have got out $15, $16. Now you could save some money, but we normally don't want to just average down for the sake of averaging down, right? We don't, I mean, basically just want to share with you that when you're buying a stock, it cannot be just because you have bought it previously and then it go down and then you buy again, right? That should not be the reason why you buy a stock. Because sometimes we talk to our clients and then they ask, hey, why do you want to buy this stock? I mean, if they tell us like, oh, because the trend is reversing up, that they've got a bullish signal, blah, blah, blah. Good stuff, great, right? But then they tell us, hey, why do you want to buy a stock? Or because I bought previously higher, so now come down, so I just buy it. Like that cannot be like that. You don't buy because you have bought and then you average down because it came down, right? So that should not be the mentality, right? The main thing should be when we see some signs of reversal. Yes, that is when you want to think about buying again, right? Maybe getting in to ride the reversal. Of course, if you have got out earlier, even better, right? So let's talk about Sofai Technology. You can see right over here. I can draw this support level. So if you're asking me about, hey, where could the potential support level be? Well, I can draw this line right over here. I think that would be around the $10. All right, $10. Now it's what, 11.39. So we are very near this $10, or maybe even near the $9, $9 to $10. Why did I draw $9 to $10? Well, I can see that previously, right? I mean, before the rally, in fact, look at this, right? We got a very good bullish signal in October, right? October, we got a bullish signal, and there we go, all the way up, 108%. A bearish signal came out, all right? Very strong, right? But before we actually broke the resistance, right? We got a bullish signal, and we broke the $9 resistance. We're trading below since last year, all right? Below, right? Pump broke. So $9 and $10 was a very critical resistance level, whereby now it could turn into what we call a support level. So anything right over here, all right? If you ask me, I think anything right in this range, I'm not too sure exactly where, but anything from 9 to 950 to 10 to maybe near 1050 as well, all right, over here, that is potentially where some bargain hunting can come back again. And that's where you can consider, all right, thinking about maybe nibbling a little bit to average down a little bit, all right, only when there are signs of the trend turning back up, right? When, as I say, all the while, right, we want to wait for the short-term trend, the 20 days moving average, to maybe just flatten out a little bit, right? Stop pointing down. Of course, if we do get another bullish signal like what we've seen previously over here, and now we see it over here as well, even better. That could lead that reversal move back up. All right, we also, I hope that explains to you a little bit on Sofai technology. All right, so take note in terms of the mindset. We never just want to average down for the sake of averaging down because it's cheaper. We want to think about maybe averaging down only when we have a signs of a reversal or like some bullish signal. So I want to share with you guys a bit more. So you can see that, I've turned on what we call the 1GT Pro indicator. All right, and of course for the 1GT Pro indicator, there's quite a lot of advanced features like the horizontal support and resistance, the trailing support and resistance. All right, we have the volume as well. All right, if I turn on everything, you can see, guys, wow, it's quite a little bit of things, right? So very simple. All right, what I have is also the 1GT light indicator, right? The 1GT light indicator. So if you want to find out more about the Pro indicator, the 1GT Pro indicator that we are using, I mean, the Pro is the more advanced version, right? So you can find a bit more on the Pro version. Attend one of those free webinars. As I say, the link is right in the chat. But I want to share with you guys another thing, right? Essentially, what we have is a light version as well, the 1GT, One Good Trend light indicator that pretty much only contains, I mean, not the advanced stuff, but it contains the buy and the sell signals. All right. So if that's what you want a simpler version, you can check it out. All right. Let me just place the link in the chat, right? In terms of the 1GT light indicator, we have what we call a free trial, right? You can test drive my 1GT light indicator for free. So just click on the link in the chat. I just placed the link in the chat. Where you'll go is to this page right over here, right? The most incredible free gift ever in the stock market, right? Test drive my One Good Trend light indicator for free, right? For free, right? And that's where it can guide you to get in and get out. I mean, based on the bullish and bearish signals that you guys have seen. All right. Plus, you get over $3,997 worth of pure money making information for free, right? Just for saying maybe. So what is this? Is I'm going to give you a chance to test drive the 1GT light indicator, and just for test driving this, right? And to see the bullish and bearish signals coming out, right? As I say, you can just type the name of any stocks, get an opinion in seconds. Just for test driving this, you get $3,997 worth of training, private, information training for free. All right, just for saying maybe. So the link is right in the chat. Go to click it out, click on it. Test drive this 14 days free trial to the One Good Trend light indicator. Read more about it on this page, and that's where you'll find all the details. All right, so yeah, just wanted to share this with you guys. So, see something you're asking about, how do you get like the indicator? So we have the Pro version, we have the light version. Test drive the light version. Of course, if you want the Pro, attend the free webinar. That's where I'll share a bit more on the advanced features as well. All right, so this is it. Let me go ahead to pass on the mic to Bervyn to share his final stock, pretty much that you guys asked about. Let's go.
Thanks, Joey. Yes, definitely try out that 1GT light. I think you will pretty much get a lot of value for me. I think just by simply looking at the 1GT, like you get the signals, good enough information, quick opinions just within seconds. I think, but the next stock, okay, the last stock that I'm going to cover today, I think is this AMD. Ed is asking about AMD. Let me just remove my screen here. Okay, there we go. I think for AMD, I think the trend isn't looking too healthy. I mean, we obviously see that prices have or the moving average or the 100 days moving average had crossed below the 200 days moving average, and then from there, right now we are actually seeing all three moving averages pointing down already. So it has been selling down. It has been selling down since October of 2024, and we have this lower highs right here. We have been forming lower highs. Prices are unable to push higher. Just steadily, coming down. So not what you want to see, especially if you are a long-term holder of this counter. You do not want to be in a situation where you are just averaging down. Imagine if you have bought at 170 and then you buy again at 150, buy again at 130, and right now you're thinking whether you should be buying again at $100. I mean, we do not see any signs of any reversal. We do not see at least the 20 days moving average flattening out. There's no signs of that. We do not see the 100 and 200 days moving averages obviously also not flattening out. And right here, we also see that the $100 psychological level, psychological support, previously a support, was already broken down in February, late February. It had already actually given way. So we are actually seeing prices trading below this $100 level right now, still consolidating close to it. So it has become like a resistance level already. All right, so that's not a good sign if it continues to head lower, So if I were to just turn on my trailing support and resistance line, obviously you will see a trailing resistance come in, come down, flatten out, come down, flatten out, come down, flatten out a little bit. And right now, we are still very much quite far away from the trailing resistance. The trailing resistance is about 111, 110 right now. So if we were to break above this 100, form a new base, push higher, break above this $111 level, that's when maybe we can see like a 1GT bullish signal come in. But right now, we still have these two 1GT bearish signals that are in play. So I think if you're looking to actually add on, I think no, not the best thing to do at this point. Not the best thing to do at this point, because I'm not too sure you have already averaged down a few times previously. What you want to actually do is to actually wait and monitor, and also have a stop loss plan if prices break that next key level of about $90, where previously, sometime in 2023, prices have been at this level. Sometime in late 2023, one more time, prices have been close to this $90 level, and that's where it looks like prices could be heading towards right now. So have a stop loss plan. If prices rebound, of course that is a good thing, but then you want to start having a plan to also implement, to also start to limit your losses. So you could actually start to shift your stop limit orders upwards if prices start to U-turn as well. So that's just a very quick one for AMD. Maybe Z, can I pass the time to you to cover the last stock today?
Okay, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, I'll share my screen very quickly over here. Okay, so the last stock that I'll be covering today will be this stock called Coke, COKE, Coke. Okay, so this one actually, I just did a quick search lah, because I suddenly like, why this COK $1,000? Previously, the one that we always know about, right, is KO, right? KO, which is also Coca-Cola, right? This one, which is about $60 over. But the one that Subir is asking, COKE, this is actually also called Coca-Cola, right? It's also called Coca-Cola. But the difference between this and the KO is that this one, right, it makes the drink. It packages the drink. It is a licensed US bottle seller of Coca-Cola and other related brands. But this KO that we actually saw, this one, it doesn't make the drinks, okay? It just supplies all the flavoring syrups to the bottler and licensors to actually package the drink together. So that is one of the main difference, okay? Just to share with you guys. So let's take a look at COKE, which is the one that Subir is actually asking, okay? So asking whether is it a good time to buy. So for COKE, Coca-Cola, this is, I would say, is one of the more consumer defensive like kind of sector compared to some of other stocks like technologies and things like that, which is much more volatile, right? As we can tell from 2024 onwards, prices have been heading up. The trend is looking great. Moving averages are going up. And from October to where we are right now, we don't see as much of a price movement compared to stocks that are probably like what we have actually covered earlier on, like AMD, like Nvidia, all these technology stocks, which actually moves quite a bit, right? And it's much more volatile. But whereas for Coca-Cola, COKE, for the one that we are looking at right now, it didn't move that much, right? And it's still, I would say, it's still pretty healthy in terms of the trend. Of course, like what we've mentioned, there is general market weakness in the market as of now, US, Asia, everywhere, right? Because of the uncertainty. Investors doesn't like uncertainty, right? So of course, we are actually seeing some short-term weakness. If we look at the 20 days moving average, the green line, it is definitely pointing down, right? It's not pointing up. But if we look at the longer term trend, the 100 days and the 200 days moving average, it's still looking pretty decent and pretty good, right? It's not pointing down. It's still kind of like heading up. There is still no signs of it pointing down yet, right? And one of the support level, right? One of the support level that we have actually drawn right over here would be this level, which is the $1,200 psychological level right over here, right? So, Subia, if you're asking when is a good time to buy, we only want to buy when the trend is actually up. So in terms of this, the longer term trend is actually up, right? But short term trend is still seeing some signs of weakness. So potentially maybe what we can suggest you to do is maybe you might want to consider to actually set some price alert near the support level. So the support level, as we mentioned, psychological support level 1002, that's where potentially you can set some price alert, right, to see if actually prices will actually return back to that level for you to potentially accumulate on the dips near the support, right? And what we also want to see is that this 20 days moving average actually starts to flatten out and also then point back upwards, right? So this is what we actually want to see for counters like that. And in terms of resistance wise, we are actually seeing some resistance at about this 1,450 to 1,460, where we actually saw some selling pressure coming back right over here, right? And that's where, you know, sellers come back in, push the price back down to actually retest this 1,200 just a couple of days ago. And that is where we also got a 1 GT bearish signal. So for this counter, maybe what I would also suggest you to do is that perhaps you might want to consider to add an alert, right? To add an alert, especially to alert you if there's actually any 1 GT bullish signal appearing again, right? So very easy to click add alert. And what you got to do is to change this to buy or sell, because I also do want to know if, let's say, you know, price actually do break below the 1,002, and if there's another 1 GT bearish signal coming out, then perhaps maybe I want to further monitor this counter and not get in, right? So I want to be alerted for buy and sell signal from the 1 GT, and that's what I'll do. And right over here, I can just put COKE, right? And create. So very easy that I have already created an alert to actually alert me for any bullish or bearish signal for this particular counter COKE. All right. So Subia, I hope that helps in terms of analyzing where can you potentially enter this stock, and hopefully you can also set an alert to actually alert you if there's any potential 1 GT bullish signal appearing. All right. So I will pass the time back to Joey, and then we can actually go through our bonus stock for today.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, so there we have it, guys. We have pretty much almost come to the end of the Ask Me Any Stock US market session today. All right, so we have covered, I would say, 18, all right, 18 of the US stocks that you guys were asking about. So let me just do a quick recap, right? Of course, if you missed any of those stocks, you just joined us, and then you had some stocks as well. It might be one of the 18, so hopefully you can watch the replay as well. If you miss any parts, watch the replay. The replay will be in our YouTube channel as well. All right, like and subscribe, guys. Go to like and subscribe if you still have not yet done it, especially if we have covered your stock. Please help to like and subscribe to the channel so that when we go live, all right, in the future, that's where you can be alerted and join us as well. And hopefully we can cover more of your stocks, or maybe your stocks if we didn't cover today. All right. So let's talk about the stocks that was covered today. Right. Right at the beginning, I covered the S&P 500 index. All right. And that was what we did on the market, quick market outlook, what has happened, what's some of the key levels. So check it out, watch the replay if you missed that part, very important. And the first stock that I covered that you guys were asking about, the first one was with MasterCard. MasterCard number 2 was A-Lab, A-L-A-B, A-Lab, Royal Caribbean. Alibaba was covered as well by me, Intel, Neo, CrowdStrike, Microsoft. We have QQQ, or the one that covers the Nasdaq index, right? Z covered QQQ. We have Tesla, AIG, PepsiCo, Apple, AAPL. That's I covered that as well. Bervyn covered Nvidia, one of the popular technology stocks, NVDA. Z covered Adobe. That's number 15. Number 16, I covered Sofai, SOFI. Bervyn covered AMD, and finally Z just covered Coke, COKE. All right, so that is pretty much the 18 stocks that you guys were asking about. So before we talk about the bonus stocks that each of us, me, Bervyn, and Z, will share with you guys, how many of you got value so far? Just help us type a B, guys, and chat B for value if you got some value, or maybe give us some heart shapes and likes and shares. That will really help out. Just help us to do that, right? Like and share, type V for value as well. Let me know. We want to make sure that all of you get value in today's session as well. All right, let's see. Jimmy got value as well. I think we covered your stock, right, Jimmy? I think I covered your stock, right? Yeah, hopefully. Great, right? Value. Thanks, Styler. I think we covered your stock as well. Styler, I think I did yours, right? Great. Elric, value. So our apologies, guys. Our apologies if we did not manage to cover your stock, because there's more than 40, 50 over stocks, right? We do our best each time, but if we cannot cover it, hopefully you can join us in the next live session. So next Friday will be the Singapore market. I will not be around. Bervyn and Zee will be the one running the session because I'm on a short, it's March holidays, right? So a bit of traveling. So next Friday, we will have the Singapore Ask Me Any Stock. Next week, they'll be back to US, all right? So alternate between Singapore and US, right? So thank you so much, Elric. Value. So I think all of you got the value as well, all right? Very good, very good. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go ahead right now to talk about the bonus US stock, all right? And sorry, one more thing, right? So I mentioned, right, if we did not manage to cover the stock that you guys were asking about, right, and you want to find out a bit more of the strategy, the one good trend, how perhaps you could do it like us. You can see it's pretty simple, right? I mean, we are just typing the name of the stock. In a matter of seconds, it comes up with bullish and bearish signals from my one good trend strategy, the 1GT Pro indicator, all right? If you want to have this as well, check it out, all right? Attend one of those free webinars, and perhaps you could have this. You could type yourself, you could see yourself, all right? And, in case we don't cover your stocks, right? Just share with you guys, that's how you can learn a bit more, all right? And of course, we have the free trial as well, the 1GT Lite indicator. It's a simpler version, just the buy and sell signals. I mean, some of you might like it simple, right? So it's just light version. I'll just place the link in the chat one more time, all right, so that you can also check out the 1GT Lite indicator free trial. We have a 14 days free trial. Check it out. You get like $3,997 worth of free training, all right, for free, right? Just for trying this trial out, all right? So thank you so much, Dave. Value. Okay, very good. So let me go ahead to share with you guys pretty much the first bonus stock, right? The first bonus stock right over here, right? So the link is in the chat. Go and check it out, right? Let me go ahead to share with you guys the first bonus stock. And this company is called Progressive Corporation, right? The code is PGR. In fact, I think about 2 weeks back, when the market was selling down, a bit of tariffs here and there, Donald Trump announced, I shared this stock as well, if I'm not wrong, about 2 weeks back, right? So I decided to share it again because I think it still looks pretty okay. When the market was selling down over the past 2 weeks, we have we have bearish signals on most of the stocks, right? The market was selling down. This stock have no bearish signal. I'll just turn it on in a bit, but it is pretty strong. People are going down, it is going up, all right? So it's very defensive. This stock is in the financial space. They're doing insurance. You can read more about it, but you can see that the longer term trend has been up. The red and blue line, they're both up. Let me go ahead to turn on the bullish and bearish signals right here in a matter of seconds. 1, 2, 3, pump. That's it. All right. So you could see that we have a couple of bullish signals, not just last week, but in fact, since like last year, 2024. All right over here, bullish signals. So each time we have a bearish signal, it comes down like 1, 2 weeks, and then after start to go up again, another bearish signal, went sideways a bit. We got more, so many bullish signals coming out. Right? Up. How many up, right? I think that would be like about 32% over here, right? From here to here, about 19%, all right? So starts moving up. In fact, about 1 month ago in February, 5th of Feb, about a month back, well, we got a bearish signal. Look at this, right? That was before Feb in January. So in December, we got a bearish signal, came down. Wait for it, pump. A bullish signal, the green line starts to point up, the red and blue already up, right? So they're not easy to see, but the green 20 days moving average line started to point up, all right? I think I talked about it when it was around here 2 weeks back, right? And not one, but two bullish signals coming out. And if I can quickly turn on the trailing support. So this is the 1GT Pro indicator, all right? Let me just turn it on. Of course, it's a bit more advanced. You have more things to turn on, but the light version, the 1GT Lite indicator, where you can have a free trial, right? That one don't have all these things, right? It's just the buy and sell signals, okay? Just to explain to you, right? So let me turn on the trailing support and resistance. Let's take a look, right? You can see it. As the first bullish signal came out in 6th of Feb, right over here, a trailing support pops up, and as we are moving up, the trailing support, you can see it follows it as it moves up. So we are still above the trailing support. The green 20 days moving average line obviously is still pointing up. So I think this stock looks pretty okay. In fact, we are seeing maybe a bit of resistance around the $290, right? The 290 level right here. I think we are just consolidating a little bit right over here. And what happens is that, yeah, we might just consolidate a bit more. If we attempt to break the 290, I think we could even see more upside. So support-wise could be 270, right? 270, or if you look at the trailing support, maybe 265 to 270, anything above those levels, I still think it looks pretty okay, all right? So let's see how it turns out, maybe 2 weeks' time, all right? Maybe there might be a bullish signal, right? If we do break the trailing support, we might have bearish signal, but so far so good. It's one of the defensive stocks whereby, when people are coming down, it is in fact going up, and we have bullish signals appearing on it over the past 1 over month. All right, so that is the first bonus stock. All right, the first bonus stock I've shared with you. And let's see, I think Victor, but there's a bearish signal on 11 March 2025. 11 March 2025. No, there's no bearish signal. I think Victor maybe had some questions, right? Bearish signal 11 March. No, there is no bearish signal right now. You can see 2 bullish signals and we are still looking good. All right, Ken. So that's the first bonus stock. Let me pass on the mic to Bervyn to share his bonus stock that he has been watching for a while. All right, you want to put that in your watch list as well. He just shared with me just now. Very excited. All right, so Bervyn, all yours, go ahead to share.
Thanks, Joey. Just maybe to answer Victor's question, maybe Victor, you are looking on a different time frame on your chart. Maybe you're on the hour chart or the 12-hour chart or the 1 week chart. So yeah, but the 1GT Pro indicator is optimized for the 1 day chart. So the 1 candle is 1 day. So maybe if you switch back to it, you will see what Joey is seeing as well. So okay, so now my bonus stock that I will be covering today, actually, Joey may call it exciting, but I think some of you may call it, a little bit more, consistent or resilient counter as well. All right. So what we have here is the Berkshire Hathaway counter. So, okay. So this is my bonus stock. Why? It's because I'm very fond that they have a lot of cash on the balance sheet, and the trend is also very smooth. I would say very consistent, exciting. Yes, especially where we are at a level right now where the entire market is actually, not doing so well, but Berkshire is still, seeing a little bit of buyers come back in. So you know that there is interest in this counter. So let's just look quickly in the past. Let's just start from 2024. We actually see that prices had actually go up a little bit, consolidated for about 6 months, then headed higher, consolidated again for the remaining 6 months, and right now we have pushed higher once again. All right. Okay, so are we about to head into a consolidation phase? I think it's hard to say, but at least I can tell you that there is some support, or the support level looks to be around this 480 level, where we have just broken above it sometime in February, and right now we are still holding above it. So that is a good sign, when right around where it intersects the trailing support level as well. So that is a good sign, that we have these kind of levels to keep in mind, especially if you want to get in for this counter. This is where perhaps a buy zone or buying opportunity can arise for you if prices are able to especially hold above that 480 level. And also we also see that the 100 and 200 days moving average is still pointing up, signaling that there is a longer term trend that is still intact, and we still have 1GT bullish signals that are very, very much in play. And perhaps if prices are able to break above that immediate resistance of 520, may see another 1GT bullish signal that could come in, and buyers push prices higher towards where, let's just do a simple projection. I would project it up to about that 560 level. All right, so from the current level, I think that would represent still a pretty decent upside, of about 12%. But we hit there soon. I think nobody can tell you, when it will hit there or whether it will hit there. But I think we are right now very in a very good spot where you can set up some alerts to let yourself know if prices dip towards that support, and if bargain hunting comes in. So I think Berkshire Hathaway will still be on my watch list. It'll still be one of those holdings that I would like to continue watching as well. And I think you should add it to your watch list. I think especially in much more turbulent times, it should still hold up well, and let's hope it hold up well as well. All right, so can I just pass the time to Z to share with you her bonus stock?
All right, thanks, Bervyn. Okay, so the last bonus stock that I'm going to share with you guys today, let me just share my screen. And that will be slightly different from what Joey and Bervyn have shared. Both of them actually shared an individual stock, right? So for me, I would like to share with you guys today an ETF, right? And it's slightly different because this ETF actually gives you more exposure to China large cap companies, right? Which what Joey actually mentioned earlier on when analyzing Baba, right? Is that, you know, now the thing is that a lot of funds are actually flowing out of US and into China. And actually these, right, can be supported by Morgan Stanley data, right? Because they actually mentioned that foreign-based funds invested $3.8 billion in Chinese equities since February. So now we are into March. So slightly, perhaps maybe more than that already. I don't know, right? But the thing is that it is backed by data by all these institutions that there are definitely more funds flowing probably out of US and into China, right? And the thing is that when you want to actually invest in, like, you know, Hong Kong, China stocks, there are so many stocks right out there, but which one to actually invest? And the thing is that we don't have so much capital to actually invest in all the top stocks, right? So just to share with you guys, this ETF is actually iShare China Large Cap ETF, and the code is FXI, okay? FXI. And some of their top holdings will be names that you are very familiar with, like Alibaba, like Tencent, like Meituan, like Xiaomi, you know, like BYD, JD, Bank of China. All of these are very popular China stocks, right? That people usually will want to invest in. But by investing in this ETF, it actually gives you exposure to all of these different counters. Okay, so one reason as to why this ETF is actually on my watch list is number one, like what I've mentioned, because funds are actually flowing back into China. This is where perhaps you might want to keep a lookout as well. And the second thing is that if we look at the trend, it seems to be like, you know, the uptrend reversal is actually indeed playing out, right? Why? Because, okay, I've turned off all the signals, okay? I've turned off all the signals, and purely let's just look at the moving averages first, which is mainly the trend, right? We use the moving average to look at the trend. And with this, we actually see that, you know, from 2024, we actually start to see some short-term strength actually returning, right? That's where, you know, the 20 days moving average has actually started to point up, right? But the longer term back at this period, April, May 2024, it is still not going up yet. It is still pointing down. But there is some confirmation coming in June last year, whereby the rate actually crossed above the blue. But of course, we also do have some short-term selling returning. But this is where price actually starts to actually move up, and all three of the moving averages are actually aligned, right? And the thing is that while US side, you know, with Trump, there's so much uncertainty, you know, he say this, then after that, don't do this, do this, don't do this. So it's a lot of, like, you know, flipping roti prata here and there. But meanwhile, on the opposite hand, you know, China, the government has been like rolling out stimulus, right? They have been giving a lot of support measures, and they even held, like, you know, business meetings between the president Xi Jinping and also business leaders, right? And this was kind of like a positive signal for the economy, China economy as a whole as well. So the thing is that investors, you and me, everybody of us, we don't like uncertainty, right? We prefer certainty. So in terms of China and US, definitely in this scenario, definitely China will give me a bit more assurance and a bit more security at this point in time, right? So if we look at this, right, these all three moving averages have been heading up, right? So that is already one tick in my book, right? So now let's take a look at the signals as well. Let's turn on the signals to have a look, all right? So turning on the signals, I'll also just turn on the trailing support and resistance as well, okay? So the most recent signal, right, that we actually had was actually a 1 GT bullish signal that actually came out on this day right over here, which is on the 21st of January, right? 21st of January, and prices continue to head up. Trailing support has been following the prices continue to move up. There is still no exit signals yet at this point in time, right? At this point in time. So let's take a look at where are the potential zone of entry if we can actually spot any support and resistance, okay? Support and resistance. I mean, of course, we can actually turn on this trailing support line, and perhaps if you are lazy, you know, you want to buy near a support zone, this could potentially be one as well, because it is actually near a support level. But if let's say I would turn this off and we were to actually analyze and actually draw some horizontal support and resistance, where would that be? First thing first, okay? First thing first, we always target the low-lying fruits, the one that's easy to see, right? Definitely, we actually do see some resistance right over here, right? Right over here, around this $38 level, right over here, near this 38. This is where actually selling pressure came back in, right? And in terms of support, where would the support be? I would say definitely the support will be somewhere right over here as well, right? This level at about, close to 28, 28.50. This is where price actually gave up. Selling pressure came back in, but it still managed to hold above it for a couple of months and before rebounding back up to this $38 level, right? And if we were to look at the past few weeks, oh, by the way, this counter, as you can see, there's a lot of gaps. So the thing is that it might not be for everybody. It might not be for everybody because this actually tracks the China market. And this FXI discounter is actually listed in the US exchange. So because of the time difference and the after hours news, right, that is from the Asian market, so which actually results in all these gaps that you're actually seeing. So some people might not be very comfortable with such gaps. So it might not be for everyone, but perhaps you might want to consider to actually add into your watch list to monitor as well, to kind of like monitor the economy and the China large cap companies. All right. Okay, so back to this. So now that we have actually spotted the support and the resistance level, right? So the support level, very clearly, the one that we have drawn is over here, about 28.50. The resistance over here, about $38, right? But over the past couple of weeks, I mean, we can see there could be some temporary support right over here. At least about 34 to 34 to 34.50, this level right over here. This could be a temporary support that we are seeing. Currently it is still holding above it, and if I were to turn on back the trailing support as well, it's actually very close to this trailing support that I've just turned it on. So like what I've mentioned, in terms of where can we actually potentially position ourselves for entry, definitely it will be near a support level, right? So like I've mentioned earlier on, this could be a level that you can actually look at, right? This could be a level that you can actually look at, which is somewhere near the 34.50, to about the $35 level. But maybe if you want to be closer to the trailing support, which is around 33, 34 level, this could be fine as well, because it is a zone, right? It's a zone at the support level where you can position yourself for entry. And in terms of targets wise, where are we looking at in terms of targets? Number one, it will be near a resistance zone, which is near this 38 level right over here, right? So this would be considered a resistance zone, and this is where we can potentially take some profits, right? Partial profits, be it full position, half position, 1/3, that is fine, right? So that would be about a 10%, right? And if price is actually able to continue to break above this 38, where can we potentially head towards? That would be at about this 42, right? This 42 level would be the next target that we can potentially look at as well. But of course, like I've always mentioned in my bonus stock, right? You don't just want to think about entering. You also need to think about your trading plan. What's your stop loss plan, right? So same thing. We always place the stop loss slightly below the trailing support. So that could be, somewhere here 2 to 3%, depending on your risk appetite as well, right? And also your position sizing, which is kind of like a much deeper topic whereby Joey will actually cover in his 1GT webinar. So do remember to actually join that webinar as well, if you are free, to actually learn more about the strategy. All right. So in terms of trailing support, in terms of stop limit order, stop loss order, back to this, then that's where you can potentially place your stop loss order slightly below the trading support. And there we have it. We actually have a trading plan in place, and this is a counter that's definitely in my watch list as well, and I'll be monitoring definitely the levels that I've spoken and mentioned earlier on. So I hope that this gives you another view about some of the counters that you can potentially watch for that is not in the US, but it is listed in the US exchange. Okay, so that would be for FIX from me. I'll pass back the time to Joey to actually close off today's session.
Thank you so much, Z. All right, very, very great analysis on this stock. iShares China Large Cap ETF, pretty much the ETF that tracks Alibaba, Tencent, all the top tech stocks that I mentioned. We are indeed seeing strength in this sector, all right, compared to the US tech sector. All right. Okay. So very good, guys. As I mentioned as well. All right. We don't have time to share the entire strategy and all that. If you want to find out a bit how you can have access to the 1GT Pro indicator and maybe the backbone, all right, the framework behind it, attend one of those free webinars. The link is in the chat. Once you click on it, you come to this page. We have one training. I think there's a final training this month, 25th of March, 2025, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Right over here, the link to chat, click on it. All right, you can find out this is what we're sharing. Secret number one, why trend trading is really, really powerful, I think, in 2025. especially when you want to catch reversal. And of course, secret number three is this, right? How do we actually scan the market? So today, right, what happens was we just covered the stock that you guys were asking about. Of course, we shared our bonus stock as well. Then some of you might ask us, hey, how did this bonus stock come into our watch list? Like, did we just from the sky just think about this stock, or then we sleep, wake up, then the stock come to our mind? And how they come to our watch list? Well, essentially, it doesn't happen that way, right? We have a screener, right, based on the very specific criteria that filters out, that sift out the top 1% of stocks. All right, and we put it in a watch list. We set alerts on them. We get ready to act on them when we see a bullish signal. That's it. Very simple, right? It doesn't just pop from the sky or what. No, right? We have a screener. So you want to find out more, attend one of those free webinars. The link is in the chat. All right, the link's in the chat. So this is the page. And of course, I think I mentioned just now as well, for those of you who want just to have a trial, all right, of our simpler version, all right, of the 1 GT light indicator, whereby, you don't have all the, trailing support and stuff. It's pretty much just the buy and sell signals like what you see over here. If you want that, you can test drive the 1 GT light indicator for free. All right, a simpler version, 14 days free trial. The link is in the chat as well. I think we have Abang saying I've signed up. Congrats. All right, how to access it? Check your email. All right, Abang. All right, you'll receive an email confirmation with all the details over there to request for access for the trainings. Is over there. You get $3,997 worth of training for free just for test driving it. Right. So go ahead to check your email. All right. I think Huang Shen, you have some question. Did your team cover Royal Caribbean in the past? I'm not too sure about the past, but today we 100% cover it. All right, that is like stock number 3. So check out the replay if you missed that part, Wen Zheng. All right, okay, Ken. So I think that would be it. That would be it, right? So go ahead to check out, right, the free light trial, most incredible free gift ever, guys. The link in the chat. You get free training. You get to test drive this thing. You can type the name of any stocks, any asset classes, US stocks, Singapore stock, DPS, Nvidia, Bitcoin, whatever you want. Get an opinion in seconds. All right. So yeah, I think we have pretty much come to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for joining us all the way over here. All right. And let's see, right? Let's see, right? I think the next one, okay, let me see if I missed anything, right? The next Ask Me Any Stock session will be next Friday, all right? And that will be on the Singapore market. So I'll just place the link in the chat. So if you want to join us in the next Friday session, you can just set a notification on YouTube as well. So you'll be notified when we go live. I'll just place the link in the chat one more time. All right. Okay, very good. So thank you so much, guys. We have come to the end of this session. Let's see. Thank you so much, Victor, Jimson. Hi, Styler. Thanks for joining us every time as well. All right. Awesome. So thank you so much, guys. We'll see you again. Have a good weekend. Thank you as well, Subia. Thanks. Thank you so much, Colleen. All right. Thanks as well. So have a good weekend. We'll see you in the next Ask Me Any Stock. Do join us. All right, and we hope to cover your stocks as well. Right, so Joey here, we have Bervyn and Zee here as well. Signing off. Take care. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.